right, everybody. Welcome to Friday Night Smackdown, live from Barcelona, Spain. I am your host, Steven, marked by wrestling, as on my stream, we're just saying goodbye to Law and Order SVU. But here we are, getting ready to get started. Glad you guys are here, as the constellations of superstars past are jetting through the sky, getting us ready for SmackDown. What's up, JR? I see you here. Jack Roman, Sophie Dofi. As you guys keep pouring in, come on in and enjoy the show. Let's watch SmackDown tonight. We've got quite a lineup here. We got Charlotte and B-Fab one-on-one, which wasn't on my bingo card for this year. We'll see what happens. Tag title match as well. And there it is, Barcelona. Always evokes memories of the 1992 Olympics for me. So, yeah, one good rule, just anybody who comes in tonight that's a mod. This did air earlier on today. So all I'm doing is just watching it live in our U.S. time. But so there may be spoilers out there. Let's keep spoilers out of the chat so we can enjoy it together. If you've already read them, enjoy that information, and we'll go from there. Yes, indeed, I'm promoted for one. I got called up for one night, Sophie, out of NXT, and we're doing SmackDown. Not just that, but an international SmackDown. Cody Rhodes is in the building tonight. Going to be a special guest on Miz TV. And while we're waiting for the opening segment to start, a couple things. Our first chatter of the night, as we see Gunther, the ring general, walking down the steps. Gunther in the house. JR says, what up, Steven? It's interesting. I'd like to see if B-Fab has continued to improve her in-ring skills against Charlotte. Wouldn't be shocked if Tiffany interrupts and gives B-Fab the win. You know what? That is a valid hypothesis. I could see that happening tonight because Tiffany has been getting jumped on more than once in this build-up to WrestleMania. We'll see what happens. But Randy and Mrs. Randy are here. It's rare to see her on camera. And here we are again with the Street Profits. Tez always looking the part, and Dawkins. I feel like Dawkins is slipping a little bit again here. But here's DIY. Broken crayon, still color. What an uplifting message for a heel to be wearing. Come on, Ciampa. So, anyway, all right. Heyman is in the house as well. Happy to be in Barcelona. And let's see who kicks off the show. So we'll see what we got. Yeah, so hopefully A and B bless us with their presence in the chat. But they've handed the baton off to me for tonight while B recovers from her foot injury. Let's go. Yeah. LA Knight is first up. And Barcelona is hot for him. You love to see it. Justin Hallencrane, good to see you, man. JR, I think I said hey to you already. Yeah. See who else I might have missed. Dulcie Chatham, good to see you, man. Jack Roman, welcome to the chat, friend. I'm guessing A and B. Yeah, so A and B, not at least not on camera. Keep your eyes posted in the chat. You never know. They like to show up like Wyatt's that you want to hug instead of run away from. Teflon Don, Mod Father, welcome to the chat, good sir. Your task, should you choose to accept it. If you see any spoilers in the chat, tell them to get out of your ring. Rickardy, all right, man, you made it, dude. Welcome. We're just getting started. We're seeing a replay from last Friday when we had technical difficulties of LA Knight regaining the U.S. title, which was a fantastic moment. I hate it a little bit for Nakamura, but I don't know what it is about giving him the U.S. title that somehow makes him uninteresting. I don't know who to blame. I guess you blame Triple H or creative, or Nakamura. I don't know, but I don't know what the deal is with Nak because he's got all the tools, all the gifts, but for some reason he's had a rough couple of years when it comes to being an interesting member of the roster. But this crowd is hot for LA Knight, and you love to hear it. Wonder if we get us like an open challenge or something. He's got the mic. We'll see what we got. Justin Allen Crane, no, it's funny. Nobody's seen R-Truth since the Cena heel turn. I've only seen him tweeting. I've not seen him on camera yet. Guys, it sounds like, yes, sir. Teflon Don, SmackDown is on the USA Network right now. This is the USA Network broadcast we're watching right now. It was on Netflix earlier today for international subscribers. Bro, bring a PLE to Spain. Put Spain on the list too, because these international crowds just make us look pitiful. Maybe not LA specific, but still, like, a lot of America has some catching up to do when it comes to crowd passion. LA Knight just letting them do it too. Just one word. Yeah. All right. As always, guys, we are on the road to super chatting on Marked by Wrestling. So let me talk to you, as LA Knight says. So if you want to support the channel in the meantime, though, check us out right there on Cash App or Venmo. And we do greatly appreciate it as we are working and toiling our way to super chatting, and at which point we will introduce a super chat championship for Marked by Wrestling. Teflon Don bringing the truth of the word of the wrestling fan tonight. Us USA fans need to catch up with the international crowd. They have so much energy. Absolutely. No lies detected. 100% facts. Yeah. I mean, this crowd's so hungry. I mean, it just Barcelona's so hot. LA Knight doesn't even have to do anything. So it's just what it is, you know? He's worldwide. Yeah. You deserve it, chance from Barcelona. Okay. Pause in one moment for a technical issue. Be right back. Oh, is that the sound of an Uso? Big Jim is in the house interrupting LA Knight. Okay, and he's got a mic in hand as well. We got LA Knight and Jimmy. Are we going to do something tonight, or are we going to build a pathway to Las Vegas? That's what I want to know. Big Jim. Teflon, they make meaningless matches feel like a main event. International crowds, I'm assuming you're talking about. 100%. Jimmy said he's out here to say he's desperate. He's not congratulating. Jimmy sounded a little like Jay, talking about trying to find his road to WrestleMania. Oh, he's just laid down a challenge for tonight. U.S. title. Oh, and now here comes Solo. We going multi-man? Oh, and Solo's got Tama and Jacob with him too. Oh, this crowd's loud too. I don't even think they're gonna let Solo talk. Everybody hates Solo, man. Oh, Solo came out and said Jacob should be challenging. Loud Fatu chants in the crowd. Chance for OTC now. Timu Bloodline starting to stalk, though. Oh, Tama's in there. Jim's got him. Oh, bit of a spine buster DDT there from Tama. We'll see. We'll see here. Hold on. We got more music. Oh, here comes Braun Strowman. Just chugging away down the aisle. Here we go. Oh, and he's got a shot for Jacob. All right. And it's breaking down now. Super kick to Solo. Clothesline to Jacob. Super kick to Jacob. Of course, Jacob's going to take 3 shots because that's what it takes to handle Jacob. Michael, welcome to the chat. Welcome to SmackDown. And here comes Nick Aldis, probably telling us it's a 6-man tag player. Oh. Nick Aldis out here speaking the native tongue. Okay, 6-man tag starts off the show. We got LA Knight, Braun Strowman, Jimmy Uso against Solo, Tama, and Jacob. Who do you got? Drop your predictions in the chat. Meanwhile, come back in. This crowd is already hot. They can hold it up for 3 hours. This is going to be a special night of SmackDown. Sophie says, let's see, did you hear TKO is thinking about hosting a pay-per-view featuring WWE boxing and UFC in Saudi Arabia at some point? I heard rumors about that online within the past couple of days. I'm curious how that would work and how fans of one property would take viewing another, you know? Also from Sophie, Daredevil Born Again. Yes, we do talk about Daredevil Born Again over at Marked by Wrestling from time to time. It was good this week. Another shocking result. Yeah, that if you guys aren't watching Daredevil Born Again, you on Disney Plus, you absolutely should, especially if you have followed the Netflix series. So that's definitely worth checking out. It's great stuff. It's one of the most faithful jumps from like a former production to Disney Plus out of a lot of their content right now. It's really good stuff. So we got a couple of Rickardy calling the Timu Bloodline. J.R. Dugan says, I've got L.A. Jimmy and Braun. Justin Hallecrane says that title looks tight. Which are we talking about, the U.S. title? Are we L.A. Knight's U.S. title? Or are we talking about something back here? Let's see. Okay. All righty. KKK. Let's see. Yeah, Daredevil Born Again. It took a while to come out, so now that it's actually out, though, I'm grateful that they took their time putting it together, because so far it looks great. So let's see. Right. Just pull things up. Yeah, it's yeah, they don't waste any time with they don't waste any time with the shocks and stuff, with Daredevil. So it's pretty. It starts off pretty intense, but I enjoyed this week's episode as well. So we're on the road to WrestleMania tonight, guys. We've got a few matches coming up tonight. Randy Orton and Carmelo Hayes. We've got the Street Profits finally challenge. I hate that A and B aren't here. I hope they show up in the chat, because here we go. We've got, we finally have the Street Profits getting their title shot against DIY, this new and improved attitude from the Street Profits. So let's see what we got. Jacob Fatu said that, Justin. Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed that one while I was trying to get things situated over here. We got Solo and Jimmy in the ring right now, squaring up in a six-man tag. This kind of reminds me of the old, almost a little bit of the old Nitro days. I know that might be a little before some of y'all's time, but man, Nitro back in the WCW days used to love to start off a Nitro with a six-man tag. Usually it was luchadors, but still, that's just an old school thing. Sophie asked, "Did you hear the rumor name of Rock and Cena team? It is stupid." Yeah, I heard there were rumors that there were rumors out on the internet. A dirt sheet was reporting they were going to be called the Rock and Soul Connection, which sounds so dumb, even for the '80s and early '90s. That's a dumb name. But that was shot down, at least from Brian Gewirtz, who is the Rock's main writer. So he told whoever was the reporter, he said, "Your sources are drunk," I believe is what he said. So I don't think we quite have to worry about that, thankfully. Do you hear that? There was a loud yeah in the crowd, and it almost sounded like it was so fast. It sounded like crickets in the crowd or something. It was wild. Not like crickets, nobody's making noise, but out in the middle of the summer and out on the grass in the summer night. So, yeah. JR, you want to see Bad Bunny? I respect Bad Bunny. He really over-delivered as a performer and got a huge response, especially when they did Backlash in Puerto Rico last year, but or 2 years ago now. But who knows? I'm sure he's probably not fully done with WWE. We'll see what happens. All right. Jimmy Uso still in trouble, as most men would be, left alone in the ring with Jacob Fatu. Man, this crowd is so invested. I really hope the show pays it off for them energy-wise with matches we get tonight, and with everybody kind of bringing their A game for the road to WrestleMania, as we are just a little over a month away. Almost exactly about a month and a week. And here comes LA Knight. We got LA Knight and Jacob Fatu in here one-on-one. Oh, I'm just now noticing Jacob's got an all gas, no brakes shirt. They finally made merch for that. It's not a bad shirt. Not a bad phrase. But LA Knight gets the best of them. Oh, Reversal by Jacob, though. We got a Samoan drop. Nope, another reversal. DDT right in the middle of the ring. But Jacob didn't even get a 1 count out of that. He popped up right away. So we got that going. All right. How's everybody doing tonight? It's been a rainy day here in my neck of the woods. We in spirit and in respect to A&B Combos, why don't we just share where everybody's chatting from, and LA Knight coming off the top of the elbow, where everybody's chatting from and what the weather's like in your area of the woods. Prayers up for anybody in the southeast. I know there's some bad weather coming through there over the next 24 hours. So you guys hang in there if you're in that area. Jacob off the rope with a mean elbow takes down LA Knight. Okay, we're going back. Are we picture in picture right now as we're doing that? So, yes, sirree. We are here for SmackDown tonight. And then if you're not familiar with Marked by Wrestling, just to let you know again, our philosophy here at Marked by Wrestling is being a mark just means you believe, and believing makes wrestling better. Respect one another, share your thoughts, and let's have a great time. So we don't take the word mark as a insult around here, because without marks, there wouldn't be any wrestling. So I like going along for the ride. All right. Let's see. We got, 72 degrees in southern Mississippi, Dossie. Dossie, are you in the path of the storm at all? Or is that, are you out of the way? Justin and talking about China Grove. Let's go. 63 in China Grove. Jack Roman, 45 in Brooklyn. It's 48 here in LA right now. 67 degrees in Charlotte, North Carolina. Woo! Sophie Dovey Backlash May 10th means a few weeks after Mania, basically. That's correct. That's going to be 1 week, 2.5 weeks. So that's going to be a real traditional Backlash, I bet, with a bunch of, I imagine we'll probably see some Mania rematches there. It's going to be in St. Louis, too. So I'm very curious what Randy Orton's match will be for that show. And then Rickardy, 48 on the west coast of Canada. West Side? Or West, how would you say that in a Canadian accent? I don't know. West Side, eh? I don't know. I'm not good with that. But, yeah, a little chilly in the area for some of us. And we go from there. I mean, Cena and Orton. I mean, I want to see Cena and Orton before Cena hangs it up again, for sure. I think they can do it. St. Louis would be a great city to do it. And but what I'm curious about is coming right after WrestleMania. I wonder if the title will be involved. Who knows? Still hot in Texas. When is it not, Teflon? When is it not? Man. Sophie, you miss A. Don't worry. We will screenshot that and make sure he sees it so that he knows that you miss him dearly tonight. I'm sure he'll be great. As a matter of fact, I could probably text him right now to let him know if you want me to, just so he knows that you miss him. Sophie specifically said, I miss A. So we'll make sure he sees that gets back to him. 75 degrees in Florida. Also, almost always feels like 75 degrees in Florida, too, at least the areas of Florida I used to visit. But a brief snowstorm yesterday. It's not that cold here. We have been getting rain all week, though, so yeah. All right. Tyrell Breed, Black Panther Gaming in the house. Stephen, a fan of the Walking Dead Telltale games. I played whatever the first one is. I don't know if they go by seasons, but I did play the first Telltale game. Loved it. Thought it was great. I just never got around to any of the other ones. I assume are they better? as we're back for six-man tag action here. Those Telltale games still good afterwards. I played a Back to the Future Telltale game too. That was a lot of fun as well, way back in the day. So, and as always, Justin bringing the philosophy to the crowd tonight. Justin, wrestling is life and wrestling is death, but also wrestling is life. Amen. Agreed. Dossie, supposed to have stormy weather tomorrow morning, but it's all clear right now. All right, man. Keep your head up. Keep your eyes open. And take care of yourself out there, man. And all right, here comes the Strowman Express. Come on, ride that train and ride it. Okay, there it goes. Strowman just clearing out the bowling pins around the ring. Me and Joe Tessitore thinking the same thing. Love Astrobot, Sophie. Great game. A lot of fun. I tell you what, the wrestlers have really got to be enjoying themselves tonight with such an invested crowd. Oh, wow. Suicide dive from Jimmy Uso to the outside, and Jacob goes tumbling all the way over the announce table. And Strowman has got Tama alone in the ring. He's got him up in the power slam position. Could this be it? Oh, he's working that crowd. Smart man. Right in the middle of the ring. 1, 2. That's it. Our good guys prevail. Thanks to a running power slam from Braun Strowman onto Tama Tonga. And Jimmy Uso. Oh! Solo just came. That was a nasty Samoan spike. Just walked right in and popped him right as he was getting his hand raised. But LA Knight now working, chasing him into the crowd, continuing to fight. Braun's still out in the middle of the ring. Jacob is back on his feet. Jacob's back on his feet, and Jimmy Uso, super kicks Jimmy Uso. Still got his eyes on Braun Strowman. He's stalking him. Now what do we got? All right. So Jacob on the attack. To Braun Strowman. Now what we got? Oh, man. Oh. Multiple headbutts. Here comes the moonsault. Oh, right on top of him. It's kind of ironic because it was years ago when Braun was the one saying, I'm not done with you yet, or I'm not finished with you yet. And Jacob now saying he's the one who's not finished with Braun Strowman, delivering 2 separate moonsaults to him. And this crowd is awake tonight. Are they chanting one more time? Oh, he's going to give it to him. That's 3 moonsaults on the Braun. All gas, no brakes. That's what we got. I think they wanted one more, but Jacob's like, no. 3's enough. 3 is enough. 3 is enough. Man, oh, man. Oh, no. Jacob's not done yet. He's running all the way back. And, oh, wow. We've already taken the barricade down in the first segment tonight, or the first match in at least. Jacob was not done. Whew. Samoan werewolf, dude, did not come to play. Showing up to Barcelona like the 92 Dream Team, just steamrolling people. It's probably not the last time I'm going to reference the 92 Dream Team tonight while we're in Barcelona. But goodness gracious, that was brutal. I wonder if they're going to keep running that back, or if they're just going to move Jacob on at this time. But that was brutal. But we got B-Fab and Charlotte Flair here tonight. And then we got a recap here of Tyler Perry Presents Jade Cargill versus Naomi. And what a fantastic segment that was last week. exceeded so many of our expectations. Fantastic stuff. We're bringing up Hall of Fame inductees now, mentioning Triple H. Or is this just all about Triple H? Witness history. Just an old retrospective here of Triple H. We're not really getting any blue blood Triple H in this though. It's all DX and forward, mostly cerebral assassin Triple H here. I gotta say, it still feels a little weird seeing a video package on Triple H, knowing that he's in charge. I mean, I know he's the headliner and stuff, and he's deserving. He's deserving to be in the Hall of Fame, but it's just a little weird for me to see him there. Oh gosh. Oh my. So there we go, guys. We've got one match down so far. We've got a hot crowd. Very curious to see what we get here. And also, as always, we've got NXT on Tuesday as well. We've got a U.S. title match on Tuesday, a women's U.S. title match between Chelsea Green and Sol Ruca, which should be really entertaining. Also got an NXT Underground match with Trick Williams and Eddie Thorpe. NXT has been hot the past several weeks, and coming right off of Roadblock. These names run together on you when they're not the big four. Sorry, but Roadblock was fantastic. Not a bad match in the bunch, and coming off of that, this Tuesday going to be some excellent action as well. So, but it's Friday night though. It's not Tuesday night. As I'm here again, filling in, being the substitute tag partner for A and B as they're off this week. And we just set our prayers up for them. So we'll see, hopefully see them in the chat tonight. I don't know. I did not confirm or deny that they'll be around. So I'm sure they're probably still trying to heal up. So, but if we see them, it'll be a blessing for sure. Now, coming up tonight, though, again, we've got a tag team title match between DIY and Street Profits, which should be a whole lot of fun. We've got Randy Orton versus Carmelo Hayes. We got Charlotte Flair versus B-Fab, and Cody Rhodes, WWE champion, will be on Miz TV. Very curious to see if we get any other surprises as well, because that is not a lot of information for how much show we have left. And there's only so many Triple H video packages for the Hall of Fame they're going to show us tonight. So I expect a few surprises as well with some people that we may end up seeing. So curious to see where we go from there and what we get out of that. Also, Raw for the next 3 weeks will be still on Netflix, but it's going to be airing at the global time of where they are. So for the next 3 weeks, they'll be in Europe. So it's going to be airing at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific, and wherever you may fall in the time zone map in between there. So be advised. The good thing about Netflix, though, is that, once the show's over, you can just go and watch it at any point, I believe. I don't think there's too much of a lag there once the show is over that the replay is. I've never had to watch Raw on replay yet on Netflix, so I don't know how long the turnaround is, but I always assumed it must be pretty close. Justin Hallencrane. Okay, let's bring this up real quick while we're still in commercial break. Did you see Cora Jade in TNA? Let me tell you something, guys. Justin brings up a wonderful thing. Cora Jade recently tagged with that Tessa Blanchard this week on Impact. And what I found very amusing was that they were victorious in their tag match, but Cora made it very non-verbally clear that she wanted nothing to do with Miss Tessa and all her real-life heat that she's got. So I found that highly amusing. I was very much with our brother AJ and his Excellent Bernie Mac impressions. I was reminded of a quote of Bernie Mac saying, she want to look at me like I'm short, the whole looking somebody down and saying, everybody knows what that look means. It means you want to do something to me, So we'll see what happens. We're getting a recap now that we're back to SmackDown of this dramatic scene between Bianca Belair and Naomi and Jade Cargill. Eventually. Yeah, I heard Dynamite wasn't great either, Sophie. I heard it was a real letdown coming off of Revolution, which was a really highly well-received pay-per-view. But AEW's pay-per-views are almost always starkly different in quality than their weekly TV, more often than not, at least. Movie Queen, welcome to the chat, Movie Queen. I think that Stone Cold Steve Austin should help Cody Rhodes and The Rock against The Rock and John Cena. The crowd would come unglued for that, no doubt, much like The Undertaker last year. Did John Cena and Stone Cold ever have a match against each other? Movie Queen, no, not to my knowledge. They never had a formal match. I do know that John Cena has taken a stunner before, but it was like after a show, like a dark match kind of situation. So much drama. Just bring the Oscars back out. Credit to Bianca, though. It's a yes or no question. Stop beating around the bush, They got real tears out here, though. Real tears. You know what? Let's try, not everywhere across wrestling, but oh my gosh, so much drama here. Watching it back again, I'm kind of like, I saw my reaction to this when A and I were recapping last week, and I was grinning the whole time like an idiot. I was just like, why? I just couldn't believe what we were seeing. And I got to say this. I want to give them credit again because I know it's a whole lot of drama. They're crying real tears. Who cares about real blood all the time? They were crying for real. I was so impressed. Not as much with their acting, but they got the crowd to buy into it. And they did it live. It wasn't like when Cody and Roman went to the Georgia Tech football field and it was cinematic and stuff. They did it in the ring in front of the crowd while they were in Philly, which of all crowds that could have crapped on that, like immediately, Philly would have been very close to the top of the list. So the fact that they were bought into that just speaks volumes about the performing capabilities of Naomi and Bianca. So I'm bought into this. I'm bought into this storyline. I'm interested to see where it goes next. Oh, empty arena interview with Jade Cargill, who's now wearing all black, with Kathy Kelly, certified genius.
I'm okay. I'm ready to go. After Elimination Chamber SmackDown, seeing Naomi cry about all her struggles as if she's the victim. How pathetic. Thinking that I needed to use anyone to get to where I'm going. As if I need a handout. Naomi thought she could dictate what I
Call me crazy. But Jade, some wrestlers, just the way they are. Hey, George, welcome to the chat, man. Good to see you. Some wrestlers just look like a face or look like a heel. Hey, look who we got in the chat. Good to see you, B. Welcome here. Jade, I know she's a face so far in this story. But even just watching this interview, like I don't know, man. She's built to be a heel. It's like when Miz was babyface, I don't know. I should say I'm not prone to have a ton of sympathy for her. I think maybe it's because she's so built, and she looks so strong and capable on her own that I don't feel like she's weak in any way. I don't know.
How can you trust anyone after that? with her as if nothing ever happened. I knew right then I had to take things slow. But she did get one thing right.
I do find it interesting. Oh, wow. Liv and Raquel just showing up to troll her in the middle of this interview. This feels very talk showish right now.
I don't need a title to take on that ass, and I'll be seeing you next week. Oh, yeah, you want to see next week? Okay, cool. See you next week. How about you just don't get pushed up to any cards between now and then, okay?
Liv Morgan versus Jade Cargill next week. Oh my. Okay. All right. So next week we got Liv and Jade. Oh, BFAB gets a walk-in promo. Does the B in BFAB stand for bilingual? Okay. BFAB didn't fumble any of that promo, at least the English part. I don't know what she said. Man. Okay. Hey, listen, they're giving BFAB a shot and she's going with it. So I gotta give kudos to that. So we'll see what happens once the bell did just ring, but we'll see what happens when her and Charlotte makes it up here. All right, so it's time for Charlotte and BFAB. Who do you guys have? Do you have the Queen or you got BFAB in this one? Leave your predictions in the comments. I was going to say before Liv and Raquel showed up to interrupt Jade's interview, it's funny. I was just saying how important it was that Bianca and Naomi did her their entire segment live in front of the crowd, and then Jade does hers pre-recorded in an empty arena. Now, to be fair, Naomi and Bianca have been doing this wrestling thing for a long time, especially Naomi. But, Jade, though, she's still coming along, I suppose. So maybe I should be a little more gracious there. But he says, I feel like this is one of those, we're going to give you one last push, and if it doesn't work, you're out. You're talking about BFAB. I'm assuming you're talking about BFAB. I think, she's showing more fire over the past few weeks. So hopefully she brings it. And Charlotte will, Charlotte reminds me, I'm going to have to explain this, a little bit of Brock Lesnar, in that it's very clear if she respects you in the ring or not. And if she does, your match could be amazing. And if not, it can be super awkward. That is the only commonality I see between the two of them. But it's a big one, that they can make you or break you in the ring with how much they actually respect you as an opponent, which may not be the most professional thing, but when they do get motivated to work with you, it's going to be a good night for everybody. So, Sophie, congrats to Lana and Rusev for getting back together. Oh, yeah, happy for them. I hope they find happiness and peace in everything that is ahead of them in the time to come. Movie Queen, yes. So, asking, did you watch NXT at Madison Square Garden? We watch NXT every week here together at Marked by Wrestling, and we had a great time watching Roadblock, and just one of the most solid cards I've seen all year. So if you haven't seen Roadblock, CW, I think even like later that night, was already uploading individual matches to their YouTube page, which I've never seen, the USA Network do that before. I've never seen TBS do that for AEW, which I thought was pretty interesting. So doing that for Roadblock, man, I mean, I'd already seen the show, so I didn't go back and watch them. But pretty cool that they did that. So they're really pushing NXT. I even saw CW had a international women's or had a women's month promo for the CW that was NXT focused, where they featured of all people Nikita Lyons, Lash Legend, and Sol Ruka for like Women's Month, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it was a neat display of the CW really pushing NXT as a product, which is good. It means that that program obviously means something to that network, which is great. But yeah, it's good stuff. Do they edit out the bad words on Raw replays? That's interesting. I don't know why they can't just other than technical difficulties like that week where it kept blacking out. I don't know why they can't just leave it as is. People kind of know what they're getting into with Raw, but I wonder whose call that is. I wonder if that's Netflix's call or if WWE asked them to do that. Because I could see WWE asking them to do that too, because it's an incentivizing tool to get people to watch it live. Anything can happen in the WWE. So yeah, happy birthday to Shotzi Blackheart. Her and her crew in NXT have not been seen in a few weeks. Her and Gigi and what's the third one? I can't remember. Okay, well, we're back now. And let's see. Coming right up. Just awaiting the entrance of Charlotte Flair. And we're going to have Charlotte Flair versus B-Fab. Again, leave your predictions in the comments. Is anybody playing a 2K25? In the comments, I saw I started the My Rise story today, but have not gotten very far. And here comes Charlotte with full-on feathery robe. This is like PLE level robe here. That definitely looks like a repurposed daddy robe for sure. I don't know if it's the pyro or the crowd, but like I can barely hear her music, and I don't even know it. Yeah, they've reworked it again. I mean, not tonight, but since the past, maybe since the last time she was out, I guess. Highly decorated, 13-time champion. She's only a few wins away from beating Flair Daddy herself. So I'm curious if she'll break 17 herself. She's still got time, so she could. All right, and then wonder if Tiffy's in the building. Movie Queen with a hypothetical here in the chat. What WWE match that didn't happen, but you wanted to happen? Mine would be Sting versus The Undertaker. Yeah, that's an absolutely great what-if match. A match I would really have liked to have seen if they were both in their prime would probably been Bret Hart and Kurt Angle. I think that would have had an amazing match together in the ring. And, yeah, I think it would have been a ton of fun. So, well, here we go. Getting ready here for the bell to ring. And we've got Charlotte and B-Fab. Here we go. Sophie says Stone Cold versus Hulk Hogan. I think that would have been a great spectacle. Don't know that the match would have been all that interesting, to be honest, just because of Hogan. But, yeah. Or Shawn Michaels and Eddie Guerrero. That would have been a great match. Absolutely. Shawn and Eddie would have been good. Absolutely. Eddie and Brett would have been good, too. Yeah, for sure. Justin says, do you think we see Tessa Blanchard in NXT? I don't know, man. I mean, I can't remember, how long this agreement is supposed to be with WWE and NXT. But if it's going to be there for a while, as long as Tessa doesn't continue to do things to alienate people, I think she's got a really good shot at it. Still locking up here. Crowd not as hot as they were for the opening match here. They're still invested. This the pace of this match feels like very Jim Ross back in the day would have called it methodical, slow. It's kind of hard. Those 6 guys were pretty amped up in the opening name. So okay, interesting slam there by B-Fab. They were chanting something there earlier. I didn't quite catch it though. Meanwhile, Charlotte is taking a powder outside and catching her breath, and we go to commercial. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, B-Fab doesn't have a ton of experience in singles competition yet, but she's she's trying to keep up with it, and we'll see what comes of it. I mean, she's going to have to make up with something now, though. So I guess we'll find out, if they find their chemistry together or not. But it is, second match on the show, so yeah. We'll see. It's the hat, Sophie. The hat is bringing the Sammy stuff. Oh, gosh. Let's see. Meanwhile, all right, so here's a question. Main event night 1 of WrestleMania. What do you guys think should be the main event of night 1? Let's just assume Cody and Cena is night 2. This has been a debated question online for the past couple of weeks, but who would you put main event of night 1 at WrestleMania right now with the way things are looking? Obviously, you have the Rollins, Reigns, maybe CM Punk as well. In that match, we've got Jay and Gunther. You've also got Charlotte and Tiffany. And there could be other possibilities coming down the pike. But out of that, who do you guys think should main event the first night of WrestleMania while we're here on commercial waiting for the match to come back? That's right, Sophie. Actually, I forgot. It's Bianca, Io, and Rhea. That's another match in the mix as well. I gotta say, if it was me, it depends on how the stories keep building between the 2 potential triple threats between Bianca, Rhea, and Io, and Punk, Roman, and Seth. Initially, I thought with Jay and Gunther that they should open night 1, but I kind of feel like they should open night 2 now instead. So I think you could probably open night 1 with maybe with Charlotte and Tiffany. Open them first and just see what they can do. You could also open night 1 with Jay and Gunther as well, because we're at the point with WrestleManias now, ever since it became a 2-night event, that starting the show, I mean, even a couple of Manias before that, starting the show, I wouldn't say was just as prestigious. No, she's not. Charlotte is ripping off Stephanie Vaquer. I cannot believe she just did that. We just came back to SmackDown, and she straight up gimmick infringed Stephanie Vaquer's move that drives Booker T up crazy. And the weirdest way. That is, huh. I'm shocked to see that, to be honest. Like, because there's only two reasons you do something like that. One is because you're building towards something. Two is because maybe you're trolling for some reason. And maybe I'm speaking out of turn here, but Charlotte, I don't think you're in a position to troll Stephanie Vaquer right now. She's one of the best women's wrestlers on the roster, including Charlotte, for my opinion, for my money's worth. But maybe that's a tease of something. Maybe she's trying to get Stephanie's attention. Stephanie is the new double champion in NXT. She's both the women's champion and North American champion. So perhaps they're going somewhere with that. But for a move I had never even seen before until Stephanie started doing it in NXT, for Charlotte to just do it out of nowhere. Yeah. Interesting. I can't wait to get on Twitter later and see people's responses to that. But crowd behind BFAB here. Thank you, dear. My wife bringing me caffeine so I can give you the best of me for the remainder of this show. I tried to text her for it and accidentally texted our entire family group chat. So that was embarrassing. I should have also had my interview segment in an empty arena. By the way, I got this cup from AMC Theaters, Captain America, Brave New World. It's a nice cup. It's lasted longer in my mind than the movie. Sophie, I do have my own bee. Her name is Allison. She's wonderful. She's an A, actually. She's wonderful. She just doesn't. Well, actually, right now, she's lost her voice. So even if she wanted to be on camera, she wouldn't really be able to participate. So she drops in the chat every once in a while, though, to say hi to everybody. All right, natural selection. I think that's going to be it. I got to be honest, y'all. Charlotte is very talented in the ring, but I haven't been super into this match. But you guys tell me what you think. So far, she's having to address the wardrobe here, adjust that before she going up for the figure eight. It's going to be academic here. Yeah, Charlotte wins. That was but she's not letting go of the hold. They're ringing the bell again. Here come the refs to try to get her to release the hold. Will anyone come to BFAB's aid? It's Tiffy time. Here comes Tiffany, and now she breaks the hold. And Tiffany comes full speed. Oh, hits the rope on the way in and gets double leg takedown as a result. Now, here's the thing. I see more. Charlotte's getting hands right now as they're rolling around, throwing hands at each other. But I saw more fire out of that 10 seconds from Charlotte with Tiffany than I saw in that entire match with BFAB, which feels kind of unfair to BFAB. Yeah, man, I didn't love that match. And it usually takes a lot for me to be critical, but they're doing the break apart. Charlotte's going in for more. They're still pulling them apart again. Here comes Tiffy. She ran right past her. Security guards still just falling over themselves. Oh, they're taking shots now. Oh, Tiffany is pulling Charlotte out of the ring. Throwing hands some more. The crowd's hot, man. I'm telling you. Huh. Yeah. Oh, and here comes Tiffany. All right. You know what? You know what I think the problem is for me here is that they just did something like this with Seth Rollins and CM Punk on Raw a couple of weeks ago, and so soon after that, doing this. I mean, I don't want to judge it before it's over, but I don't know. I expect something that seems more believable from Charlotte, from somebody with her caliber. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. I guess I just have higher expectations of her than what I'm seeing. But she's never really been much of a street fighter, but the crowd loves it. They're giving sounds like a "This is awesome" chant. So, hey, who am I to deny Barcelona? Whoa, here comes Tiffany, diving off the top. Oh man, swanton onto everybody. I don't even know if she was near Charlotte in that crowd, but she took down a whole bunch of bowling pins out of the ring, and it was still a beautiful shot. Her coming off the top onto the side. Oh my gosh. Just blonde hair and sequins flying everywhere from both competitors. Well, I'm proud of them for trying to give a little bit more, giving her a little bit more something there. So as we go to a promo from Drew McIntyre, let's see what he's got to say.
The individuals right in front of me. I didn't realize that somebody was benefiting every single time I got screwed. April 7th, 2024, WrestleMania 40, Drew McIntyre.
This is a verbal history of the injustices against Drew McIntyre. Tiffany and Charlotte should do a woo off like Jay Lethal and Ric Flair. I'm going to tell you right now, Justin. I'd watch it. Jay Lethal's got one of the best Ric Flair impressions of all time, though, for sure. Maybe the best.
Money in the bank. I win the money in the bank contract. I cash in. And I get screwed once again. And now Parasite, now Leech Priest is there to capitalize. Even when you lost the title, you didn't know how to succeed unless it was off my back, which brings us to the Royal Rumble. As soon as my back was turned, eliminated, thanks to Priest. In elimination chamber, my last chance to tell you, I played what John Cena. I'm about to pin the man who won the match.
You know, I give them credit. They do have a through line here of Drew connecting the dots of Damian Priest being the connective tissue to all of his frustration. Even though he's been saying it's been the bloodline this whole time, which is true. But at least that does make some sense. Damian has always been present to be opportunistic whenever Drew has been screwed over. So it makes sense for them to have a match. I think Drew has to win it, though. And I don't think Drew's done chasing Roman. I just think he's got another road bump here. Speed bump, sorry. I couldn't decide if I want to say speed bump or roadblock, but yeah. I definitely think we'll see Drew and Cody at some point. I mean, Drew just has too much charisma for them not to be a viable challenger for Cody Rhodes. I mean, I'm surprised we haven't gotten it yet, to be honest. Of course, he was so consumed with CM Punk last year. It wouldn't have made sense then. But, yeah, absolutely, they need to give us a Drew and Cody feud at some point once this Mania stuff dies down, maybe later in the year or even SummerSlam. I wouldn't mind. But we're going to have Miz TV with Cody Rhodes coming up next, which is exciting. And, so we've got Saturday night's main event is going to be in Tampa in May. And then, and the Battleground the same week in Raw, of course. I'm holding my breath a little bit about them being in Tampa, though, because that is Hogan's backyard. Hopefully they've learned their lesson about putting that man on TV for a while. So we'll see. Yeah, Sophie, I've heard a little bit of that too. I don't know, though. Listen, none of us know what's going to happen at WrestleMania, right? None of us know if none of us know if Cena or Cody is going to win at Mania yet. We'll have to see what happens. But I keep telling myself, like, one, and I'm still sticking to this prediction too. I predicted that Cena would get a title shot at number 17, but he'd lose. And I do think that'll happen at Mania. I think he is going to lose at Mania. That doesn't mean I don't think he won't get another shot later in the year and maybe win then. But I just don't see him winning at Mania because his next world title win is going to be the record breaker. And, like, I just have a hard time believing that the WWE brass want that record-breaking moment to be a healed out John Cena. I mean, that's just how I feel about it, and I'm just one dude with an opinion, but we'll see what happens. I'm along for the ride either way. I'm not going to dump on WrestleMania if he ends up winning. Well, I guess it would depend on how it happened, but we'll see. But I made a couple of predictions about Cena. I did. That was my prediction in my 2025 predictions video, which you can find here on the page. My other predictions are still up in the mix right now, although one of them has a possibility of getting thrown out this year. I did predict Demolition to make the Hall of Fame, and with the word being out there that the natural disasters are coming in, I'm not sure if they'll make it this year or not. I hope they do anyways, though. There's no reason not to have two tag teams in at 1 year. I had a second. I booked an entire 2025, just a fantasy booking video of 2025 for John Cena. You can find on the channel too, which did not account for a heel turn. So it's definitely not going to be going that way now. Also, I assumed he was going to be on TV a lot more too, which he has not been. So it definitely leaned heavily on the fantasy part of the fantasy booking there. So it is what it is. But the NXT show Battleground will go head to head with AEW Double or Nothing. But NXT's been doing just fine going compared to AEW all year, at least on television. And their shows are on Peacock and not $50 a pop. So I'm sure their numbers will do just fine. But here's to AEW and hoping they continue to succeed so wrestlers have more places to work and there's not a monopoly that de-incentivizes creativity in the wrestling world. Here's to you, Tony Khan. And now we wait to come back from commercial break for Miz TV with special guest WWE champion Cody Rhodes. Curious if Barcelona will hit us with the woe or if they'll try to sing the whole song, because the crowds have been getting hotter and hotter, which, by the way, I'm encouraged that with all these heavy hitters that Cody has had to go up against over his title reign, of course, of his career, that the crowd still rides with him. Rickardy, I do think AEW has something for everyone, but I'm also going to argue NXT has something for everyone. If you watch Roadblock, there were only 5 matches, and they were 5 totally different matches. You had like 2 meaty men slapping meat. You had Obafemi and Moose. You had the Hardys and Fraxium doing the high-intensity, fast-paced tag team title match. You had a great technical women's match with Jordynne Grace and Roxanne Perez. And that street fight was freaking brutal with Ethan Page and Javon Evans. There wasn't any blood, but it didn't need it. It was hard to watch in a few spots as it is. And then, of course, the main event, while a little rushed because of TV time, the minutes they had were very, very good. But yeah, like it all, man. No, and absolutely, this is the This is the attitude, ladies and gentlemen. Not that all of you have to like it all, but find the things that bring you joy in wrestling and let that fuel your fandom. Don't let your cynicism fuel your fandom. It'll steal your joy and ruin your life. Um, find the things you enjoy and lean into it, And don't lean into it by tearing down someone else either. But anyway, well, Charlotte and Tiffany still fighting. I don't know where all the agents went. Oh, they all came back like a bunch of children who weren't watching The Family Dog coming out. Not that these ladies, never mind. It's just I have children. We have a dog. Anyway, so they had to come back out and be like, you guys again? Now hug and say you're sorry. No, this is like, it is, I commend them. I commend them for trying to make something out of this street fight, but these ladies look tired. It's just like we saw this 2 weeks ago with CM Punk and Seth Rollins, and like there was a level of vitriol and hatred in that pull apart brawl that just hasn't been here for that. They're too similar. You know what I mean? Oh, Tiffany's up again. She's like, I want another shot at that swanton. Here she comes again. Oh my gosh, dude, are you kidding me? 2 spots in a row. She didn't hit Charlotte either time. She took out like 5 dudes, and Charlotte's like over here. Oh man, I don't want to walk down that pathway of criticism, but I don't know whose fault that is. But it doesn't look great. For some of these this feud for me, WrestleMania can't come fast enough. Let's just have the match and then move them on their separate ways. I feel like they're almost too similar in gimmick. That didn't do a lot for me. I'm very happy that the crowd is happy though, because with an American crowd, I'm afraid the lack of intensity in that could have killed the show. Not the show, but killed the segment and taken a while to bring people back up. So at least the crowd's happy because that means the energy is still up. And just in time for Cody to come out. Could you imagine if they had killed the crowd right before Cody came out? Oh, gosh. That would have been terrible. He got beat up by 2 rappers. That is a good question, Dossie. Is this what happens when you show up wearing the same outfit? I've never known what happens when that actually happens. I always thought it was just kind of slow embarrassment on the inside, but maybe pull-apart fights do happen. All right. Man, they're already saying his name when Miz announces him. Okay. Canada will boo the national anthem, but Barcelona will cheer the American Nightmare. You love to see it. Oh, they're singing the whole song. Whole song. Oh, it's track jacket tonight. It's not business suit, Cody. It's windbreaker roads tonight, baby. If I was going to do the common man boogie, I had to be wearing my windbreaker, the jacket, you thief, for American Nightmare. My son, Cody, who I'm so proud of. Yeah, crowd's hot, man. I have loved that. Might be one of my favorite things about increasing the level of international crowds, throughout the year. Not just fan engagement. Oh, man. Oh, gosh, man. That just softens my old man heart. Did you see him autograph that kid? autograph that kid's shirt. That kid's entire world was made. He was so legitimately excited. Turn around right to his parents, like jumping up and down. That was sweet. That's some like pre heel turn Bret Hart stuff. Good stuff. Miz knows how to get heat, dude. Cody said, "Don't you interrupt these people from singing. They hit you with a crossroads. This segment's over." Wow. Is he just going to come out and cut a promo then? No questions? No hard-hitting questions? Okay. Shirts off. The Barcelona Nightmare. We're getting region-specific shirts. Okay. Cody says, I ain't talking to nobody unless it's John Cena. Okay. Cody has challenged John Cena to show up at Raw on Monday. He says, I'll be there too, and I ain't talking to nobody else unless it's you. Will John show up on Monday, or does he have a movie to shoot? Brussels, Belgium. Brussels, that's in Belgium. That's where Daddy's from. Anyway, little Dr. Evil for shout out to AJ. Yeah, so they'll be in Brussels on Monday. I wonder if Cena will show. We've got Nakamura talking to Aldis. Asking for a rematch. There's Priest.
I don't know. I was told that he left the building due to that information. Of course he did. Not only is he a jackass, he's a swamp one at that.
Oh, I guess we're going to get Priest versus Nakamura tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what you just said, but I'm going to tell you something in the language you understand and the people here in España understand. Estoy buscando una pelea. Te voy a dar una paliza a ti. So you know what I said? I'm looking for a fight. I want to win you. I don't know what he said or what you said.
Nick Aldis said, I don't know what he said or what you said. Well, we got Damian Priest and Shinsuke Nakamura tonight. Hey, somebody's going to catch some hands for sure. And we're having it now. Okay. Damian Priest versus Shinsuke. What do you guys got? I got Priest. I mean, poor Shinsuke, but I think we got Priest, unless Drew shows up. But I think, I think we got Priest and Shin out of these two. I've got Priest. Tell me who you got, guys. You know, I low-key kind of enjoy Damian Priest's entrance. Maybe it's all the purple. I don't know. But yeah, I think this will be a solid match. But yeah, I'm sure we'll probably get an appearance from Drew before this is over. But my guess is I'm going to guess Priest, though. We'll see what happens. Coming up strong here. Okay, so Movie Queen asked a valid question. Where is Aleister Black? I know that there's a lot of talk, that he's no longer with AEW, that he'll be on his way back to WWE. And here's a question for you, chat. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, whatever. When Alistair, aka Malachi Black, comes back, where would you put him? Tell me what's the first feud you would put him? What's the first story you would put him in? I'm curious, and we'll highlight some of your answers here. Rickardy Rusev is chilling with Lana. Apparently, they just got. I don't know if they just got reconnected, but the word is out that they are reconnected now. But yeah, where would you guys put Aleister Black if he comes back to WWE soon? Who would you match him up with? Sophie Dofi says on Raw, being the new leader of the Judgment Day, I do think that would re-energize the Judgment Day. That would definitely inject some new energy into that group. It would be interesting to see him interact with like the more sillier parts of it, like Carlito. I'd be curious to see how that works. But it would be kind of I wouldn't say a step backwards, but a step towards, back in the day, in the earlier iterations where it was like Edge and Drew, or even when it was just Finn and Damian and Rhea. So that wouldn't be bad. I don't think that'd be bad at all. So we'll see what comes of that. We're on commercial break right now. Still to come, though, we still have Randy Orton versus Carmelo Hayes. We still have a tag title match with DIY and Street Profits as well. Barcelona crowd is hot tonight. We've already seen Cody Rhodes just lay waste to Miz instead of having a Miz TV segment and call out John Cena for the next episode of Raw. And then we've also had Charlotte go over B-Fab and have a, depending your mileage may vary, pull-apart feud fight with Tiffany Stratton and a great six-man tag to start off the show where LA Knight, Braun Strowman, and Jimmy Uso took down the Temu Bloodline. So we'll continue the show here when it comes back just a moment. So let's see. J.R. Dugan says, well, Rickardy first said bring him back for Finn Balor. And J.R. Dugan says, I feel he'll face Balor. I miss him being a babyface. I would love to see Finn Balor and Aleister Black. I would have loved to see that match in NXT before those black and gold days were done. That would have been phenomenal. And honestly, I would really, I don't know that he would come back exactly the way he left, you know what I mean? But man, I really enjoyed his entrance with that CFO music and coming up out of the casket sort of thing. Yeah, it was a great theme. Great theme. Justin Helen Crane says, SmackDown, put him with Shinsuke as a tag team. I do not hate that. That actually is not a bad idea at all. Gives some more vibrancy to Shinsuke, too. Gives him something to do. And that tag scene could be fun. But we've got a promo here right now. Hold on. Someone's standing on the... Just a lot of lightning. I don't know. Is that Phoenix? Or is that the masked luchador from Monday? The American luchador. I don't know. It could be Phoenix. Although, if that was a SmackDown we don't know. I don't know if that's a SmackDown exclusive promo or not. But I would think if Phoenix is coming in, you'd want to pair him with Penta, right? You know what? I've criticized Shinsuke's booking recently, right? But the man has never had a bad theme song. That the variations on the theme song, on his theme song, the Rising Sun or whatever it's called, has always been good. His original one, then the like rap rock one they did when he turned heel, so fans couldn't sing along with it. And then this sort of ancient Japan version is, I don't know, I love them all. Love them all. So, yeah, we'll see what comes of this. And I mean, I even like his entrance gear. Like, he's so distinct, you know? Shinsuke is so distinct. But man, got some fireflies out for Shinsuke too, man. Yeah, man, I love it. I like, the sort of flutes and the drums, and it feels very Karate Kid 2 to me. That was one of my favorite movies as a kid. But yeah, man, his presentation is great. I just, the roses on his robe. It's very Ghost of Tsushima villain kind of thing. But I've enjoyed all of his themes, but I like this one too. Staring off into space. Well, I'm curious what kind of in-ring chemistry Shinsuke and Damian Priest have together. Could be really good. Could be awkward. We'll see what happens. But he's coming off that loss of the United States title. Will he continue to lose? Will he get a win back? Will Drew be a factor? We'll see what happens. But here we are, again on Friday Night Smackdown with that beautiful blue mat, just with the WWE logo in the middle. Something I highly more prefer than Raw's multi-advertised mat. This match brought to you by Papa John's. Nothing says epically stuffed crust pizza like Damian Priest and Shinsuke Nakamura. If you want a little crust topping, spray that mist on your crust and order today. Honestly, watching these two square up, I feel like they can almost both kind of look like Tekken characters. I don't know if you guys ever remember. You guys ever play Tekken? Any of them? But yeah. Let's see. All right, slow lock up here. Some reversals here by Shinsuke. All right, a little bit of chain wrestling going on here. But, yeah, I did see the ending of Cobra Kai, Sophie. I thought the end-to-end was pretty good. The lead-up in the last season, I wasn't crazy about the last season. But once they got down to the last couple of episodes, I really enjoyed it. Oh, big pop from Priest. Crowd is still into the match, but you can tell they want to be excited, But it seems like they're starting to get a little tired. Someone in the chat earlier said they didn't feel like WWE was fully prepared to move SmackDown to 3 hours, and I think you're right. Like, I still think they haven't totally figured out how to manage their time for 3 hours of Raw. 3 hours of SmackDown. They had 3 hours of Raw down. I still don't know how they haven't managed to. You think it would be easy enough to do the same for SmackDown. You just plug and play different stars and follow a similar formula. But I don't know, man. Raw has been hot. NXT has been hot. SmackDown, it just kind of depends on the segment. Some of it's really good, and some of it is like, okay, well, how much time do we have here, So we're about at the, let's see, yeah, we're about at the halfway point now with this match. So how are you guys liking SmackDown so much? I thought it started off really hot. I thought the six-man tag was hot. The Cody segment was brief, but I thought it was really good. But the Charlotte B-Fab match was okay. The post-match angle I wasn't really a huge fan of. And we just got started with Priest and Nakamura, so I'll reserve judgment until that's over. But I do still, I kind of feel like, I do kind of feel like watching SmackDown is a bit like running a marathon. Like every week, we kind of hit a wall at one point, um, and we have to like kind of find our second wind. And I think this commercial break might need to be our second wind time to find our way. Oh, I forgot about the Jade Cargill interview, which started off sluggish for me, but actually picked up a lot for me when Liv and Raquel crashed the party. I thought that was great as well. So we'll see what we got here. Again, everybody, I want to thank you guys so much for subscribing to the channel. We're over 2,000 subscribers now at Marked by Wrestling, and continuing to grow. And at the same time, we're still trying to get our view hours up so we can start instituting super chatting and all that stuff and all those fun things for you guys to be more interactive with us throughout the shows. So in the meantime, while we're still working toward that goal, if you want to support the channel, there's two ways you can do it there, through Cash App or through Venmo. Those are the avenues I have for that at this time. Feel free to support the channel. We greatly appreciate it, as we are working our way towards Super Chat, and we will have our inaugural Super Chat champion as well. Dulcie Chatham with another word of truth here. It's not bad, but 3 hours is just too long. You know, I think someone said too once, Dulcie, that the fact that it's 3 hours on a Friday too, like, you know, we've all kind of gotten through the week, and now we're spending 3 hours on a Friday night. I think there's more weight to that than maybe we predict. You know what I mean? So that's tough. Bear with me just a moment. We're going to mute for a second. Okay, bless me. We're back. Now, we got another question in the chat from Movie Queen. Sorry, I missed you, Movie Queen. Hold on. Movie Queen, how did you react when you heard that Eddie Guerrero passed away? So I would have been in my early 20s. I'm going to turn the volume back up because we're back now with the match. And I'll answer that question here as we get settled back into this match between Damian Priest and Shinsuke Nakamura. It was Eddie Guerrero died a year before my father died, actually. And I remember just being in shock at first, because the thing with Eddie's death was that he had had a history, you know, of substance abuse, but he'd beaten it, you know, he had gotten clean, and but he had done so much damage to his body, it just caught up with him, you know, and that was just really, it was really sad, and yeah, I mean, I think I was just kind of, I was in shock because there was just he just didn't seem like the kind of person that would happen to, you know, and he was so beloved by everybody, right? Still is, obviously. So yeah, I don't exactly remember where I was when I heard, but sad stuff. And I was devastated because Eddie wasn't my favorite wrestler, but he was, like, if you asked me to like start ranking wrestlers, he was always going to be close to the top because there was nothing he did bad. You know, he was good at everything. So yeah, just a tough day. Sophie asked a natural follow-up, how did you react when he shall not be named died? I'll name him, Chris Benoit. That was a bigger shock to me, obviously, for the obvious reasons of the circumstances of his death. But I was also on like a youth trip as a chaperone, as a leader, when I found out, and we were still going to be there all week long. So like we had just gotten there like the day before when it happened. And so I had to spend the whole week, you know, trying to be a good, mature grown up around these teenagers and stuff. And that rocked me because I was learning about it up there from like texts from a couple of my friends and my brother and stuff, telling me things that were going on. And man, I just and I'll say this, and I think I've said it on the A&B Wrestling Combos podcast before. Benoit was my favorite wrestler when he died. So that one hit me a lot harder. One, because my favorite wrestler had died, and then I learned that my favorite wrestler had done one of the most despicable thing you can do in this life, And so, yeah, honestly, I didn't. I still watched wrestling after that, but I didn't love it for a while. It was hard to make sense of the things that I liked, and to this day now even, um, it has affected the way I watch matches that are indicative of the style that he wrestled in, like the really hard hitting stuff, like some of the stuff AEW does really well, 15, 20 years ago, I would have thought was amazing. But now I'm kind of like, I feel like you guys are just doing it for the sake of, like, it makes me really, really hesitant to enjoy. And a lot of it is because of that. But when Mr. Perfect died, I think he died in 02. I was still in college, and I have not. Drew McIntyre in the house. Hold on. Drew is in the house. 1, 2. Oh, roundhouse kick from Shinsuke. He's gearing up for the Kinshasa here, too. Is he going to walk away with the win due to that Drew interference? No, we've got a South of Heaven right out of there. And Drew says that's enough of that and causes the DQ. So Damian wins by DQ, but crowd seems hot for Drew, though. I mean, why wouldn't they be? He's a European wrestler himself. But, dude, Drew is in such good shape, man. It's a freaking monster. Anyway, I don't know what I was talking about. Mr. Perfect. I mean, Mr. Perfect wasn't, all due respect to him, an all-time great, if I may. Mr. Perfect. Oh, wow. Kinshasa to the back of the head of Priest. Mr. Perfect is in shock. I love the way Drew's looking at him like, you can just keep doing stuff. I'll just stand back here. He just raised his eyebrows at Shin. What are they chanting? Interesting. They just have a stare down and Nakamura leaves. A Drew Shinsuke alliance, I wouldn't be mad at if they did something with it. Mr. Perfect, though, God rest his soul, wasn't really an active competitor on the wrestling scene when he passed, so he wasn't really at the forefront of my mind. I was still sad to hear it because he was awesome. But, yeah. So, it is. Sophie asks, what got you into wrestling? Well, my dad and my brother initially got me into wrestling. They were big fans. Interestingly, as we sit here and talk about Cody, my dad was a big fan of Dusty Rhodes. The Dusty Rhodes-Ric Flair feud, I remember him enjoying, as well as a few other older wrestlers and common feuds of that time in the old NWA. And my brother was into that too. But I would say my fandom myself, I actually made my first video was about the moment that really brought me into wrestling. It was an episode of Saturday Night's Main Event in 1987 where Andre the Giant was won. Well, he didn't win. Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan were in a battle royal together right before WrestleMania 3. I think they're singing "Oh, Drew McIntyre" to Seven Nation Army. But yeah, that whole build to WrestleMania 3, if I can oversimplify it, really made me a fan of wrestling. Once WrestleMania 3 happened and I saw Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage, I became a huge Ricky Steamboat fan for the rest of his career. He was my first favorite wrestler. And then I was a WWF and WCW guy from 87 all the way through WCW's closing. And I tinker around with AEW from time to time, but mainly just watch WWE now. Man, Drew just cutting a promo in what appears to be Damian Priest's concussed face. Oh, man. Yeah, Sophie, WrestleMania 2 was very forgettable. It was ambitious, but it was not great. I don't think there was one match on that card that's really stood the test of time. Maybe the British Bulldogs tag team title match, but barely. Um, but man, listen, Drew and Damian at WrestleMania could they could do something. I won't say they'll steal the show because there's way too much star power. We got DIY here in the back with Kathy Kelly.
Now, Tommaso, Johnny, you two have a massive title defense tonight against the Street Profits. What makes you two so sure that you are?
That's right, Sophie. WrestleMania 2 is in New York, LA, and Chicago.
To answer your question with a question. Why is SmackDown the greatest tag team division in all of professional wrestling right now? Because we are the top of the mountain. Sometimes they're trying to rise up.
I don't know what kind of wrist bracelet, gauntlet, something Gargano is wearing. I can't tell if it's decorative or like battle ready.
Barcelona, Spain is going to find out what everybody already knows. The BTTITW is DIY.
Johnny's doing a lot of work to try to get all of those abbreviations over, and I applaud him for it. But that BTTITW part, he could probably find something else to say. Oh, here come the machine guns again. I will forever love DIY, though, mainly because of the story they told in NXT. That was part of my journey back into not just watching wrestling regularly, which I was kind of doing already, but loving it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think Johnny's a great person. But, yeah. Hey, look who has joined the chat. Welcome, 3 Diglets. Kathy Kelly don't even want to be there. Hey, Kathy Kelly is a certified genius. I implore all of you to check on YouTube later. She interviewed Logan Paul, which I know is a lot to ask of you guys, but she interviewed Logan Paul. There's a brief snippet of that interview where he tries to brag about how smart his IQ, how high his IQ is, and she flat out shuts him down. And you discover that Kathy Kelly is a real genius, not a YouTube genius. It was amazing. So, LFG. I have not kept up with LFG. I thought I'd go back and watch the extra episodes, but I'm just not. I just haven't, to be honest. I haven't felt incentivized to go back to it. It looks interesting, but I just haven't done it. So, it is what it is. Yeah, but Gargano and Ciampa are great guys. Just seeing, I remember when they were when Bobby Roode was in NXT, they did the Glorious Bomb videos online, the viral videos, if you know what those are. They were always pretty entertaining. Big fan of Johnny and Tommaso there. But yeah, I had been, some of you guys have met my daughter Rosemary, who did part of the live stream with me a few weeks ago. Came in and said hi to everybody. So when we adopted her, part of the process of that, bringing her home, meant that my wife and I had to be on 2 different continents for a little while. And when I was home alone, having to go back to my job, I figured, hey, I could start watching some wrestling again, And that's when I found NXT. And that was right before DIY started going towards the tag titles against FTR, the Revival back then. So I hopped on DIY right before their story really took off. So like seeing them fight each other in the Cruiserweight Classic and seeing their story against the Revival and Authors of Pain and Ciampa's heel turn, all that stuff was just so good. And really made me, and the 2 out of 3 falls match. Someone asked me earlier if I was a singles match or a tag match fan, and the answer is both. But really good tag team wrestling is like, it's just awesome. And seeing DIY and the Revival's 2 out of 3 falls match at the NXT Toronto takeover was just Excellent. Oh man, it made me fall in love with wrestling again, not just be a fan of it. And I'm like, man, I can't believe people wrestle like this still in places. And so that got me back into NXT. Got me into NXT at first, and then that kind of brought me back into the main product and stuff. We all suffered together in those late 2010 years before Vince left. But that's why, man, that's why I'm such a big proponent of loving wrestling, finding the things you love about it. Because another YouTuber a long time ago once said, a lot of wrestling sucks, but when wrestling is good, it's freaking amazing, and it really is. And so I like to talk about the things that I find amazing, and I like to learn from you guys what you think is amazing too. Like, what is it about wrestling that's why we call it marked, right? That's I always do this. It's over here because I have it mirrored on my stream. That's why we call it marked by wrestling. It's because it leaves an impact on you, right? So I'm seeing several like, where were you? How did you feel? Questions, and while we're in the commercial break, I'm going to try to answer them or at least respond to them as much as I can. So I'm going to go back and see if I missed any. Rickardy, yeah, you said tag team fan or single wrestler fan. Listen, man, a really good tag team is, one, hard to find, and two, really special when they hit on all cylinders. Like the late 80s, early 90s Steiner Brothers is one of my favorite tag teams to watch. They were phenomenal, and I'd love to see them do what they did in the ring. Great stuff. So we got Lamine Yamal from FC Barcelona. I don't know enough about football or soccer to properly appreciate that, but the crowd seems very excited, so I'll give them credit as we're getting into our next segment. Move on down. Teflon Don, my brother. Steven, WCW will always have a place in my heart. Man, you ain't lying, dude. Like, people, WCW, we'll come back to this, Teflon Don. Hold on, because the Secret Hervis is on screen. Agent P, Piper Niven, and the new agent, Alba Fire. I love this gimmick. Absolutely love this gimmick. It's one of my favorite things on the main roster right now. And she's coming to NXT next week, so I'm here for it.
So I did what any great leader would do when she has her back against a wall. I brought out my secret weapon. And now the Green Administration is in full force.
Who's here? Selena Vega, the Green Administration. I love it. They're the Green Party.
United States champion, Selena Vega. Hold up, Habanero.
Hold up, Habanero.
You're gonna have to go through us. Guess what? That's fine. Next week, it'll be me and you. And then
Selena Vega versus Piper Niven next week. Hey, that seems like a mismatch, but I think that match is going to be a lot of fun. I absolutely love Chelsea Green's story right now, though. It's one of my favorite parts of SmackDown every single week. Here comes Randy Orton. So let's see how loud the crowd gets and sings along. We'll keep coming back. Teflon Don, I'm going to keep this comment right here, and we'll come back to it and keep coming down for our next commercial break maybe and get through some of these questions. Crowd is singing word for word. The crowd hears the voices in their head. I got to say, and maybe I'm unknowingly a little bit of a hater for this, but I was more surprised that Randy got an entire sing-along than anybody else, going back to last year in France. But Randy's walking slower than usual. He is taking it in, dude. Dude. I mean, how can you not be romantic about fans having this much joy about the product? Like, I mean, listen, and they do this in multiple, Randy's shaking that little girl's hand. She needs a nap. She's seen too much action. I think that Tiffy Charlotte fight probably took something out of her. I'm telling you, man, that every company has had some moments like this, and I love international crowds, man. They're awesome. The time zone thing is a little tricky from time to time, but man, they bring the passion. It is worth it. During this, okay, yeah, they're recapping to his injury from 4 months ago to Kevin Owens before Carmelo Hayes comes out. But yeah, man, WCW always have a place in my heart too, Teflon Don. I'm going to say this real quick before we get back to the action. A lot of people hear the phrase WCW now and they think about the worst of the times, the post NWO Vince Russo, the way that it ended, you know? They think about that story the way that it ended. But it became WCW in like 1990. And before that, Jim Crockett Promotions, which was phenomenal in its own way too. And WCW had some excellent stuff. They had some of the best wrestlers in the world at certain times. They were doing things before, like they did a Forbidden Door show before Forbidden Door was even a term. The NWO storyline at the time was phenomenal. The Cruiserweight division, it's so much. And when I say hardcore stuff, I'm not talking about pilfering all the ECW people. I'm talking about like Cactus Jack and Max Payne versus the Nasty Boys and stuff, like 93 WCW stuff. So much good stuff in the history of WCW that is worth remembering. So appreciate you mentioning that, because I stand with you on WCW. We'll never let WCW's memory die at Marked by Wrestling. I might have to spruce up the background with a little WCW stuff. Although there is a Starrcade poster, a Battle Bowl poster right there as well, as Carmelo Hayes makes his entrance. I'm going to bring up my next question from Movie Queen while we do that, as Mello makes his entrance. And I want to take a moment to hear the crowd here too. He's getting a good response too, for a heel. That's another thing. I know we kind of like to hate on Def Rebel, and I'm going to do so a little bit here too, is that, oh, Mello's looking at this little girl too. Who is this girl? Is she somebody's child? Because I know Randy's wife is there. I wonder, I'm curious if that's his daughter, because what other fan that age would absolutely no-sell Randy Orton shaking your hand when he never shakes anybody's hand in the crowd? I can imagine his own child being like, okay, Dad, whatever. Can I get some Takis or something? Like, so who knows? But I don't know. Now I really want to know who that little girl was. Movie Queen asks, how did you react when Roman Reigns announced that he had leukemia? There's a lot of times in wrestling where, kayfabe gets destroyed and the illusion is taken away. And we have different feelings about when that happens. But I will be honest, before that happened, I was definitely seated on the train of, we don't want Roman around. He's been shoved down our throats. He is not over with me as a face or a heel or anything. Like, I'm just tired of seeing him. And then when reality came into play, I was like, that's all wrestling talk. That's all kayfabe talk. I don't want him in my wrestling booking. I don't want this man to experience pain in life. I don't want him to have to deal with this kind of an illness. And when he came back to say that he was in remission, I said, even if he's never my favorite wrestler, I'll never actively boo him again. And I haven't. I have not hated him, even in a kayfabe sense, ever since then, because reality was just too strong in that moment. And when there's a quote from an old, counting to 10 in Spanish, as Randy gets the mounted punches here and having his way with Carmelo Hayes. There is a quote from an old, English nun, and I wish I could remember her name. But the way I found out about this quote was that Mr. Rogers used to carry this around all the time. And the quote is, "It's impossible not to love someone once you've heard their story." And that leukemia story, I call it a story, but that leukemia struggle with Roman playing out in front of everybody on screen was all of us getting an opportunity to hear Joe's story. And I think that's why I gravitate to the wrestlers that I gravitate to, is when I have a chance to hear their real life story. Bianca Belair is one of them, hearing her story. Tommaso Ciampa, hearing his story. I mean, there's plenty of others, right? But those are some of the current guys. Cody, hearing his story too. Hearing all that stuff adds a layer of empathy that I have for them as performers outside the ring, and that just bleeds into who they are inside the ring too. So when he came back after that, I was like, no, I am not going to be a cynical internet wrestling community person about Roman Reigns anymore. Other people might boo him or whatever, and I'm probably not going to buy any merch or, lose my mind when he comes out. I'll let other people do that, but I'm not going to stand in the way of him getting to do what he loves in the ring as a fan. I'm not going to be an obstruction to that. So I haven't been. That changed me on Roman forever. So good question, and a good pull too. Movie Queen asked DX versus NWO. NWO all day, with the caveat that we're talking about Hogan, Hall, and Nash, and maybe Six. After that, no, not really counting it so much. But NDX was fine. I mean, I didn't hate either one of them. They both had their strengths. But yeah, NWO for life, baby. Although DX did have Mike Tyson versus the Dennis Rodman, but both of those were huge, huge gets in 97 and 98. That's just unbelievable. Charlotte Flair posted on her Instagram, sticking her middle finger up to the crowd. Well, hey man, at least she's still healing. I'll give her that. Sophie, a few more things. How did you react when WWE promoted some NXT stars out of nowhere 6 or 7 years ago? I think that was when they brought up DIY and Aleister Black and I think Ricochet maybe even too. If that's the time, if that's the time that you're talking about, I didn't like that at all, which made me really sad because I just said, right, about Ciampa being one of those guys and DIY being one of those teams that really brought me back into loving wrestling again. I was like, no. Keep them in NXT. I was excited at first, but then once I saw it the first night, I'm like, there's no build, there's no story. It's just we're going to slap on some hot NXT wrestlers on this show. And they just didn't give the crowd time. It wasn't a good idea. And so I just hated to see those guys suffer a slow death in front of the crowd. Yeah. Okay. So that was the time. Sophie, you were talking about Ciampa getting called up to the main roster while he was NXT champion. Yeah. So that's what I was referring to. Reaction to Owen Hart. There's a lot of death stories here tonight. I'm trying to keep it upbeat though, guys. Yeah. So we're back here. I'm going to turn this back on so I can hear the commentary. Owen Hart died the night before my high school graduation. And that was really, really something impactful. It was, I'll never forget where I was when I heard and the confusion that was being reported on the internet and stuff, because people weren't sure as the show was going on, what happened. And it was just so devastating, man. I'm still in shock about it. I hate that it happened. And I hate that a man's family was robbed of their dad and their husband, and that wrestling was robbed of a really good performer and a good person too. I've never heard any real shoot stories on Owen Hart, other than a mild bit of frustration between him and Austin after his neck was broken. But I think we can all understand that. All of us can understand a little bit of beef when your neck is broken. But even then, Austin was still, time healed that wound, I think. 3 Diglets says tag team matches will forever be the second match of the pay-per-views, regardless of belts or whatever, because it's the bathroom break match. You're not wrong, Diglets, and I'll be honest. Well, except for the main event of WrestleMania 39, Sammy and Kevin versus the Usos. So it's not a 100% situation, but it does bother me when there's not a whole lot. I'll tell you what, you want to know what grinds my gears, as Peter Griffin would say, is when tag teams who are always together, think like a Fraxium or somebody like that, lose to a team of mishmashed top stars. So, like, if the War Raiders on Raw lost to, I don't know, Seth Rollins and CM Punk, would bother me, because the reason why tag teams are who they are, like they're specialists, right? They have chemistry, they get along together. Oh man, what a great counter by Randy Orton. He takes that springboard and reverses it right into the Orton Power Slam. Solid match going on. I know I'm talking a lot about other stuff right now, but these two guys have kept the crowd into this match. So catching up with the chat as I'm getting behind. Teflon Don shares with us a WCW memory. Sting, Booker T, Billy Kidman, Juventud Carrera. They were the ones that made me start wrestling. Hey, man, you can't powerbomb Kidman. I learned that. There's actually, I think we talked about this last week. Reversal by Carmelo Hayes on the apron. There was WWE has launched the WCW YouTube channel, and they put the 1998 Slamboree pay-per-view match of I think it's like 20-man luchador battle royal, and the winner would have a cruiserweight title match against Chris Jericho right after. And Chris Jericho comes out and actually does the ring announcing for all 20 guys. What a great rebound springboard DDT by Carmelo Hayes, but only for 2. And Hoovy and Kidman are both in that match. But it's a great storytelling battle royal, and one of the biggest pops I remember in WCW. Let's see. Coming in. Chat be like, Steven, what are your thoughts on Chris Benoit? I'm telling you, man, everybody's bringing the heat tonight, dude. But you know what? Listen, as the title has been christened upon me as wrestling historian, one thing I believe about history is you have to acknowledge all of it, or else you might be doomed to repeat it, or you can't learn from it, So as long as it's not an inappropriate thing to discuss, I won't shy away from topics as we chat in between matches. That is my promise to you guys, is that I will try to maturely and responsibly handle any questions. And if I don't bring it up, it's either because I didn't see it or I didn't deem it appropriate. And if I do see something is inappropriate, I might just voice that so you guys know where I'm coming from, why I don't say it. Let's see. Let's see. What members of this? Yeah, when Moxley left WWE, I wasn't expecting that. RKO out of nowhere. That's going to be it. Thanks for coming, Mello. That's going to be it. And they cut to the Barcelona player as well on his phone recording it, which is pretty cool. That's a pretty cool shot to have of your WWE, the celebrity recording the match as he's there. He's that into it. That's a good shot to have. Kudos to the production team on that. I was shocked that Ambrose wasn't coming back, but then when I heard his podcast interview with Jericho afterwards, I understood. Not everybody was happy with the way WWE was running, and not everybody likes the format and the structure of WWE, and I can respect that. I do think ultimately their way of doing things is for good. Now, okay, Randy Orton going for a oh no, that's what you get for not being a good sport, Mello. Hit him with the stupid, Randy. Come on, do it, say it. Randy Orton offered a handshake to Carmelo Hayes, who pie-faced him away, and he got a second RKO for his disrespect. Wow. Oh, no. Is he going to go for the punt? Is he going to punt Mello over a handshake? Is this 09, Randy? Oh, Kevin Owens is here. Randy said, forget that. Give me KO. Randy's chasing KO now. Throwing out 2 pieces and biscuits. Oh, Randy pushed back first into the post. But he's jumped the barrier and he's still – oh, no. KO's jumped the barrier. Randy didn't chase. He's just going to seethe at ringside. Okay. We're teasing that punt. KO's taking a punt before this is all over, y'all. Can't wait till we see that. We're getting a recap of the 6-man tag tonight while we're doing that. And we'll go there. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Back to Owen Hart, I suppose, Sophie. Yeah, I do believe they should have canceled Over the Edge that night. As through the years, now that I've revisited more of the footage and just, you know, the pain the performers were obviously in, and not just for their feelings, but when they're distracted, you're unsafe. They should have shut down that show. Oh, Jacob Fatu promo. Okay, Jacob said, let's run it back. Jacob and Braun next week. All right, get ready for some ring breaking or something, man, because they're going to have to escalate. Gunther's here. The world champion is here in Barcelona. And he's in his gear. To my knowledge, this is unannounced, although he's being announced right now. Okay. Ring General is here. Okay. Sophie W. asked, where would John Cena and The Rock's career be right now if they didn't go to Hollywood and be successful at it? If they weren't successful in Hollywood, they'd probably still be in wrestling. I mean, I think Cena and Rock both would probably be involved with WWE somehow, either as ambassadors or, I think something like that. With all this Samoan influence, I'm sure The Rock would probably still be a presence, maybe even on TV. But Cena could definitely still be your corporate-looking guy who goes to all the TV shows and promotes WWE and brand ambassador and all that stuff. Or just, living his clean life, Let's see. What's the best RKO from Randy Orton? My favorite one is still probably the one he did to Evan Bourne out of the Shooting Star Press. That one was fantastic, although he's done so many good ones. Oh, the Seth Rollins one is a really close second from WrestleMania 31 when he caught him out of the stomp out of midair. Any day I could flip a coin and it would be one or the other. So I'm a little late here. All right. Catching up with people through some of these questions. Jay Money, good to see you, man. And you were right that we saw Kevin Owens, but he waited till after the match. And then, oh my goodness, we've got A and B in the chat. Hey guys, sorry it's taken me this long to notice to acknowledge you, but I still did. So here we are, man. So good, You guys could join us. We're having an interesting night here at SmackDown. We're having a lot of fun in some places, and then in some. Not so much. I feel like a little Ross from Friends here. a little bit of that. But catching up here, let's see who we got. Curb stopping or a punt. Oh, man. Yeah, Vince was wild for letting the show go on. So, all right. You guys, kids are passing through. Let's see. Seth Vesterkin. Where would Eddie Guerrero be right now if he was still with us? That's a good question. I wonder if he wouldn't necessarily have taken some time to work in AEW. Also, I'd like to think that he would have prevented the massive proliferation of LWO branding on WWE television. I would hope that his presence would have kept that away. Honestly, though, I said AEW, but honestly, dude, could you imagine if Eddie was still with us? I'm just saying goodnight to my kids. They're all going out to have do something fun, I'm sure, and not at all troublemaking. Anyway, could you imagine if we still had Eddie for these Dominic Mysterio storylines? That would be entertaining. I would love to see Eddie and Dom together. So that's probably the only thing I'm thinking about in regards to Eddie is how Dom would be as a performer. We got smoke on the TV. This is some kind of promo. We're back. A mysterious promo countdown for. That's it. Well, that was mysterious. It's just a 4. Yes, Diglets, this is pre-recorded because it was aired in local time in Barcelona. So this is a tape delay. All SmackDowns are tape delayed, but Raws are going to just air at their typical time globally. I definitely got Aleister Black vibes from that. That's my first guess as well. But I wonder if that 4 means 4 weeks from now. If like every week will be 3, 2, 1. Let's do some quick calendar math on that. If it was 4 weeks from today, 1, 2, 3, 4 would be April 11th. That would be a week before WrestleMania. All right, here's Gunther.
I just had to be here. Just one regret. I wish we would be in Madrid instead.
Gunther said, I wish we were in Madrid instead.
Anyway, the real reason here is I want to prove a point. Because all
Gunther wants to prove a point.
you love Jey Uso. But he's wasting his time dancing around amongst you, waving his hands like an idiot, just to entertain you. But once this bell rings,
I love Gunther as a foil for Jey Uso because they're so opposite.
and damn big.
So good.
I heard there's a kid.
Hey,
They
kid.
call it the best wrestler out of Spain. Or the most promising talent in WWE right now. You all love him, but I'm gonna prove right now that this doesn't mean a damn thing.
I'm going to prove that just because you love somebody, it doesn't mean he's good enough.
Here it is, your national hero, Axiom.
Axiom's here. Dude, are we about to get Gunther versus Axiom? I'm here for this. The crowd is awake, as am I. I like the little tease there with A Kid. Bell's ringing. We're getting Gunther and Axiom on SmackDown. Let's do this. This crowd is about to lose their minds. I hope they give this at least a little bit of time. Oh, man. Well, to be fair, Sophie, that Gunther versus Tozawa match, they let Tozawa work a little in that match. They let Otis work a little too with him. So, and hey, let's do it. Let's do this. All right, guys. Unscheduled match, Gunther versus Axiom. Who do you got? Sophie, we only got 45 minutes left. There's only one other match. There's only one other match left that we haven't gotten to, which is the tag title match. So they can go. Gunther is a big dude, Diglett. You're absolutely right. I think Frazier is happy about it. I absolutely have Gunther in this, by the way, but this is going to be fun. Sometime this reminds me, speaking of WCW feelings, these remind me of some of the old school Clash of the Champions where Ric Flair would have a world title match against a guy who just never got a shot against Ric Flair. And you didn't necessarily believe that Flair was going to lose, but you were just excited to see the match. Brian Pillman had a shot at Flair. Scott Steiner, young Scott Steiner, had a shot against Ric Flair. A very young Sting in '88 had a shot against Ric Flair before he really came into his own. Beautiful Bobby Eaton, TV champion Bobby Eaton at the time, had a main event Clash of the Champions match against Ric Flair. So this is kind of how I view this. I don't think crowd is hot. They are hot for Axiom here in Barcelona. That Tessitore and Barrett are having to raise their voices just to be heard. This is amazing. This is just so old school. And like sometimes wrestling isn't always about, oh, do we not know who's going to win or not? It's still a great ride to go on. And I think this is going to be great. Always kicking his arm. He's worked his arm, and he's still delivering kicks to the arm too. Oh, wow. He ate that chop. Actually, that was great ring psychology by Axiom too, trying to attack the chopping arm. You don't see a lot of guys doing that. And now we are in split screen here at Marked by Wrestling headquarters, which I hate to see it because now the chops are coming and we don't have audio, so we can't hear the audio chops. Once again, guys, we are on the road to Super Chat Central for Marked by Wrestling, where we're going to be introducing a Super Chat champion. But until we get there, we have to keep increasing our view hours at the channel, and we're growing more and more day by day. But until then, if you want to support the channel, just check out right below. You can send any support you want through Cash App or through Venmo, and we greatly appreciate it. And more than anything, just being present in the chat. And I've had a really good time talking with you guys tonight, drawing upon wrestling history and drawing upon memories and all that stuff. So I appreciate the questions. Keep them coming. It's definitely something fun to do, especially during the commercial breaks. So it is what it is. Sorry, I was just reading another comment there. It is hard to get watch hours sometimes. So Diglett's, how many more hours we got left to complete the goal? We still got a mountain ahead of us. My goal is to try to get that mountain eclipsed by WrestleMania, though. So we have a little over 200 hours right now, and we've got to get to about 4,000, which is a lot, I know. But I'm a man of faith, and I'm going to have faith in the process that we can, with chunk by chunk, day by day, that we can get those hours up. Because those are rookie numbers, man. Got to pump up those numbers. So we'll see what we can do for that. Movie Queen with another question tonight. Movie Queen, our trivia queen tonight, asking so many things. So we have what do I think about the Montreal Screwjob? Oh, complicated. It's the short version of that. We talked about that during the A&B Wrestling Combos podcast. You should go back and listen to it during the McMahon documentary. There was an episode about the Montreal Screwjob, and we all shared our thoughts on that. I do think it could have been avoided in a lot of ways. I do kind of understand people's perspectives on it, But at the end of the day, I do think Brett might have been a little. I don't necessarily believe Brett screwed Brett, but I do think he might have been a little more difficult than he needed to be in some of those situations. But also, hindsight is 2020 though too. So we'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can do about getting those hours up. But yeah, as far as the screw job goes, yeah, that's. I'm glad I didn't have to make any choices in that situation. So. Yeah, it's tough. I don't have to go live every time to get the hours. It also applies to previous videos as well, and getting views up on those videos as well. So it's cumulative. It's not just going live every time, but we'll yeah. So let's see what we've got. Mania is right around the corner. I know. I have a sense of urgency about it, and I'm trying to work my way through it. I have a few plans to try to accelerate that if I can, and we'll see what we have. Wonder where we at WWE will be at now if the crazy old man was still running the company. Nowhere good. I'll tell you that. Nowhere good. I think we'd still probably be owned by it sounds like I feel like we'd still have the TKO situation in place, but I feel like WWE's identity would probably erode pretty fast. Some two YouTube channels have to go live every day. Yeah, I mean, it's a goal of mine to go live more frequently once we get that threshold. I mean, it's kind of like catch-22. Like, you need to go live a lot to get to that place, but then getting to that place makes you want to go live because that's how you can start earning more opportunities for things. So it is what it is. But I'm going to try really hard to get those. And so I'm okay. Axiom almost pulls one away. Sorry, a knee to the face of Gunther. He's got the crowd on their feet. Point at the crowd. Sorry, we came back and oh wow, shotgun drop kick catches him right in the middle of the ring, and then nasty power bomb. Oh, but Axiom kicks out of the power bomb. Axiom kicks out of the power bomb. Man, oh man. They're giving us a great match here. Okay, Gunther's about to go up top. He's going to try the splash. One thing I like about Gunther is he's got like 3 different finishers. Oh, kick to Gunther. He gets seated on the top turnbuckle. Now what are we going to try to do? Is he going to try to get a Spanish fly out of Gunther? A Spanish fly? I've never seen Gunther do it. Nope, couldn't get it. Gets shoved off. He's going back up to the well again. Let's go for a Hurricane Rana. Oh, catches him mid-Hurricane Rana. He's holding him upside down. Super. Oh, he almost powerbombed him, reversed again in midair to a Hurricane Rana off the top. Axiom. Super. Oh, kicks a spit right out of his mouth. 1, 2, 2.9. Okay, Axiom. I see you. Oh, there's an Axiom mask in the front row. Oh, that's awesome. That's who he was pointing at, I think, before. Unbelievable. I mean, kind of believable. But this has been a really fun match. Really fun match. Barcelona's loving it. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Gunther has probably been one of the bigger beneficiaries of Vince being gone, for sure. Gosh, those chops, dude. Has he got a subwoofer in his hand? I mean, the way he just claps that stuff off is wild. Kick. Catches the chat now. Okay. Is he about to get him in Rings of Saturn? Oh, can't quite get there. Getting a reversal from Gunther. He's deadlift powerbomb. Oh, plants him down, and then like a clothesline from hell style sickle there from Gunther, and one more power bomb with emphasis, going for the pin. 2, that's academic. All right. Well, hey, you know what? solid match. And that was, if anything, was a major palate cleanser from some of the fatigue I was feeling from earlier on in the show. Great refresher, a slice of ginger, if you will, getting you ready for the next course. Great stuff. Dossie Chatham asks, oh, now he's going for the choke. I'll be right there, Dossie. Refs are trying to get him to let Axiom out of the choke. Gunther releases the hold, but still proving another point. Basically, just because you fans love somebody doesn't mean they can beat me. I like the logic there in the storytelling. That's good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so that's a wrap on Gunther for tonight. An unannounced surprise. Dusty Chatham asks, who would you have win the 15-year undefeated Andre the Giant challenge the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak? Good question. I mean, I'd probably have Taker take that. One, because I think Andre's streak was a little more fabricated of the two. And Undertaker has a lot of WrestleMania history with big lumbering giants during that streak. So that's why I go for that. Oh, Roman, Seth, and Punk, they say they're joining us next, all three of them? Dude, we've only got 30 minutes left in the show, and we still have a tag title match. Okay. Well, I'm going to pay a close attention to when we come back from commercial here because we don't want to miss that. Now, do we? Diglett said, that's it. I'm getting an Axiom mask. Now, are you going to alternate between that and the Penta mask, or are you going to find a way to like wear both at the same time? That's what I'm curious about there. Let's see what we've got. That was a great match. Great match, absolutely. Got a question. Thoughts on Lana and Rusev getting back together? Me personally, I don't like it. You know, I'll say this. Off screen, you two do whatever you want. Do you be happy? But on screen, I don't need Lana and Rusev together on screen. I would rather have I would rather have Rusev on his own, or what is formerly known as Aiden English doing these days? Is he in the NWA now? Because I would love to see Rusev Day again as well. I was a big fan of Rusev Day. I know I wasn't the only one. So, yeah. Let's see. Who do you think would win between Roman and HBK? Well, if I was booking the match, I'd have HBK win. But it also depends, you know, what era we're going to. You know what I mean? So we'll see. Aiden English is an Impact. Okay, gotcha. Well, if Rusev does come back while they're still doing the TNA agreement, maybe we will see a little Rusev Day, even if it's temporary. Good to know. Oh, man, what a good match between Gunther and Axiom, and thank you guys for hanging out. I know 3 hours on a Friday night is not easy, so I appreciate you guys being here with me for that, and it's my pleasure to be your guide through Friday Night Smackdown in Barcelona, and home of the 92 Dream Team's undefeated streak against the countries of the world in basketball, asserting their dominance. Big Dog Roman versus HBK. Well, hardly anybody was beating Big Dog Roman at the peak of his stuff. That reminds me, though, somebody asked me, I thought, no, I'm making it up. So if you did ask, though, your thoughts on Brock Lesnar ending the streak. It was shocking, which is I knew what they wanted to do. I honestly, it didn't matter to me personally, it didn't matter to me as much if Taker's streak stayed or if it was broken. But I will give them credit for using Brock as a monster after the streak, so it wasn't worthless. And that made Goldberg more exciting when he beat Lesnar in 86 seconds or whatever it was, because Lesnar was on a tear after that. So at least they didn't do nothing with Lesnar after it happened. However, I don't know, man. I don't know. Um, I don't know if it should have been broken, and honestly, I still don't know that Brock was the one to do it. For me and some people, I've said this to people before, and they tell me they think it was would have been a little too early for this, but with all of his angles for that he had going into his matches, I kind of would have liked legend killer Randy Orton to break the streak. And that's all the way back in WrestleMania 21. But I loved the legend killer gimmick. I think breaking the streak would have been a massive boost for Randy. I mean, in hindsight, he didn't need it because he's still a legend himself now. I see Bray Wyatt. Yeah. I wish the Bray Wyatt Undertaker match, because that was at a WrestleMania, an outdoor WrestleMania in Santa Clara that year. And it was still kind of daylight when the match happened, which I know is just an aesthetic thing, but it really kind of messed with it for me. I wish it could have been really dark out there during that match, because as creepy as both of those gimmicks are, So I wouldn't have mind Bray having taken the streak either. But yeah. Sting versus The Undertaker would have been a great match. Sting should have beaten Triple H at that WrestleMania, though. I'll tell you that right now. That match annoys me to no end. One, Triple H shouldn't have won. Two, the NWO shouldn't have come out to help Sting. That's so annoying. I mean, that's be like the Bloodline coming out to help Drew McIntyre. Like, no sense whatsoever. Three Diglett says, I'll see your Bray and raise you a fiend. Now, that would have been fire, literally and metaphorically. Also, WrestleMania 14, Kane. Like 97, 98 Kane wouldn't have been a bad choice either. Because in hindsight, that Kane was dope. I mean, unbeatable. He was Michael Myers in a wrestling ring. So it could have been good. Yeah, Punk almost defeated. Punk almost broke the streak. This was a great cage match, and back into the discussion of finding joy in wrestling. You do not have to crap on Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher to love this match, and you don't have to crap on CM Punk and Seth Rollins to love the AEW cage match from last weekend. There were two different things. This was very much a storytelling cage match on Raw, which I thought was amazing. It's the first time I can remember as a wrestling fan where they used the escape clause of the cage match of, leaving out the door as a taunt to each other. Like, they kept opening the cage door being like, hey, why don't you go ahead and leave, if you're man enough or whatever, and kind of stuff. And they were both too proud to do that, and then Roman's interference on Seth then causes Seth to win in a way that they had goaded each other not into doing. So Seth gets the win, but not really the way he wanted it. Anyway, that was great stuff. Yeah, Dossie's right. They're both good in their own ways. They both had their own things. Paul Heyman is in the house now, though. It's going to hype us on two things.
I'll keep this short and sweet. Today, all over the world is officially Roman Reigns Day.
Oh, it's Roman Reigns Day, and I don't even have a pillow to hug. That's unfortunate. Now, we all know good and well it's Rusev Day, though.
We'll go home and play the video game. I'm sure everyone at home is going to play the video game, but please wait till SmackDown is over. We like to keep our ratings high.
Paul Heyman.
During my segment.
Paul Heyman, ever the marketing strategist.
Number 2. Reigns is on the cover of the WWE.
Who would have thought Roman Reigns Day and Rusev Day would be on the same day?
One of these people, when it comes to being my friend, is the best in the world. She and I.
Thoughts on ECW folding? It was time. They really had very little talent left. Now I heard they removed the freaking from Seth Rollins' day.
All due respect, I hate that freaking song.
Paul Heyman has had enough of Seth Rollins' song.
Has a problem with the fact that I hate that freaking song, or that it's Roman Reigns Day, or that Roman Reigns is on the cover of the WWE 2K25 video game, then you can say it straight to the face of your tribal chief. It belongs to Italy, because next week your tribal chief will be.
Looks like Roman will be on SmackDown next week.
Don't move. All you have to do is buy a plane ticket on Chico Airlines and fly over to Bologna.
Barcelona.
Next week, when Roman Reigns appears live on SmackDown, you can see
Roman will be on SmackDown next week.
straight to his face. And that's not a prediction. That's a spoiler.
So Heyman basically just came out to plug the video game and say that Roman's on SmackDown next week. Wow. We dedicated a segment to that. Well, if anybody was going to get mileage out of those two pieces of information, it was going to be Paul Heyman. So I'll give him credit for that. In Bologna, Italy. Remember when Randy Orton joined the Bray Wyatt family and he burned the barn? Yeah, I never liked the Randy Orton joining the Wyatt family angle. I definitely loved. I was pro Luke Harper at that time. Brody Lee. I was for him during that time for sure. And Jade Cargill versus Liv Morgan next week as well. Now, Daniel Bryan joined the Wyatt family. I actually didn't really love that either. But when he broke off from the Wyatt family in that cage match, that segment was fire. That was one of the best segments they'd had in years at that point. It was phenomenal. Here come the Street Profits. Oh, Escobar and Los Garzas here. Legado Fantasma, whatever.
No. We're here to wish you luck in your title match. I hope you win. Because when you do, we'll have nothing more than to take this title stuff of you. So like I said, buena suerte, caballero. Buena suerte.
Profits look like they're ready to hurt somebody. I gotta and let's go ahead and all recognize Sophie's comment right now, because as a community, we all need to be prepared for this. If the Street Profits win the tag titles and A and B are not here to react to it, it's gonna have a hard time. Okay, you saw the spoilers, Diglets. I have not. So we'll see what happens here. But thank you for being such a good, valiant rock steady member. Okay, that was a great promo by the Street Profits, but I'm starting to say here that not everybody needs the same promo right backstage, right before they come to the ring. You know what I mean? Like, it feels special when Jacob Fatu does it, but I don't know that everybody needs to do that. I mean, maybe find a different spot for them to give the promo. I like them doing promos because people are getting better at it, but it's a little copy paste right now, and copy paste is not great. Three Diglets tells no lies. Fatu is Fatu, and he makes that the booking of the blocking of that kind of promo special, and everybody else is bringing their A game. The promos are good, but like not everybody needs to do it the same way. I hope they can get a little more creative, productively about that. Oh man, it's been so long since I've been at a live WWE show. The last WWE show I remember going to, I think, was Royal Rumble 2010. It has been, gosh, 15 years since I've been to a WWE show. That's a long time. I almost went to WrestleMania 27, but my wife and I moved like the weekend before. We moved states, and I ended up selling my tickets. So it's just been wild. So like in hindsight, that is like one of the worst WrestleManias of all time. It's one of the least liked WrestleManias. So in a way, I kind of dodged a bullet, but I feel bad for the city of Atlanta though, because I moved, Sophie, at that time, I moved from Georgia to North Carolina. And Georgia and the Mercedes-Benz Stadium would be an excellent venue for another WrestleMania, and Atlanta would be a great city for the entire, because you could do center stage for NXT. You could do I don't know what they call it now, the State Farm Arena for Hall of Fame or Raw and SmackDown. Like, you can do all that stuff. You can do the whole week there. So I hope they go back to Atlanta at some point so they can redo that. But Diglets, I appreciate your sympathies there. But bro, you know what, man? In life, we just have different financial priorities from time to time. And it just hasn't been in the mix for me. I haven't always been able to afford it. And then when I got kids, kids are expensive, but also I love my kids and I want to take them with me, which now makes the price of tickets more expensive because I don't want to buy one or two. I want to buy like 4 or 5. And now Nick Khan is super greedy, so even one ticket is a lot. So I was hoping when we got out to LA that, you know, we could have made WrestleMania 39 work, but those were astronomical too at that point. And trying to jump into WrestleMania is just wild. So I don't know exactly what that means, Sophie, about not being like A and B regarding going to WWE TV and pay-per-views. I think it's great. I will say this, and I probably just sound like an old man yelling at a cloud a little bit. It was so much fun to be there, and I've gone to multiple events since I was a child, spanning from WWF to NWA to early WCW and some post Attitude Era WWE shows. My favorite show I ever went to was actually right after. It was a couple of years after my dad passed away. My older brother and I, as if you remember the start of the show, somebody asked me what made me love wrestling. I said it was my dad and my brother and their love of wrestling, and brought me into that. And so my brother and I, we never said it was to honor our dad, but it was a thing we never got to do while he was alive. And we agreed to go together. We went to the Rumble. Well, we went to the Rumble there in 2011, but we got to go to WrestleMania 24 in Orlando. And so we saw Ric Flair's retirement match. We went to the Hall of Fame. in Orlando that weekend, and that is one of the best WrestleManias of all time. So I'm glad CM Punk's first Money in the Bank win. That was a great show. So more on that in a second. As Gunther and Jimmy are talking. Gunther telling Jimmy he's the more mature Uso.
Did you see the match I just had?
I did.
The guy, and I mean, just like Jay, he left it all out there. Just like Jay always does. But at the end, I choked him out and left him laying like a wet towel.
Left him laying like a wet towel. Jimmy couldn't not laugh at that.
Face me at WrestleMania. I have to do the same to him. Jimmy, I have to hurt him. So can you, the more mature one, have a word with him to make the right decision for him?
You know what, Gunther? I honestly think you got this whole thing backwards, Oops. Yeah, the disrespect, running up on me, talking about I need to go tell Jay this and tell Jay that. Well, check this out, Oops. At WrestleMania, the ring general drops Wayne Goose and will drop the WWE Heavyweight Championship to the main event. Yeah, at Sin City, we get Goose. Jeez.
I'm sorry, I was mistaken about your maturity. I tried. I really did.
Jimmy showing some fire in Gunther's face. I love that, man. That was a great segment. Short, sweet, to the point, and it keeps building. Keeps building that. Now, if it results in some other heel turn from Jimmy Uso, I'm going to throw it in the trash. But hopefully not. All right, here come the tag team champions, DIY. And it's time for our main event. So let's put one more pick in the chat for our main event, guys. We're going to get 13 minutes of high-octane action here with Street Profits and DIY for the Tag Team Championships. I would love to see Street Profits pull it off, even though I am a DIY guy. They've shown so much more edge and aggression. I hope they pull it off because I'd love to see where they go with that with this new attitude. We'll see what happens. Sophie, have I never taken a break from watching wrestling like most fans have done? I did. I took a bit of a break when we moved to North Carolina. Part of that, I followed along online a little bit, but I didn't have as much access to watch on TV then. So I didn't see it a bunch. So for about a year or two, right around those Rock, Cena, Once in a Lifetime, People Power, all that kind of stuff, I got back in basically around 2014, 2015 after the Shield came. After, I got in for some of the Daniel Bryan stuff. That's around the time I started coming back. And then I was pretty much locked in again around, I want to say 16, maybe 2016. I'm not entirely sure though, but yeah, the early 2010s, right after, I would say probably the lead up to right around the time I moved. So, yeah. So I right around WrestleMania 27 until WrestleMania 30, I was in and out. Oh no, I don't live in North Carolina anymore, Sophie Dovey. Sorry, there was a little bit of a jump. I live. I've moved a lot of times. My dad was a pastor. We moved multiple times. I've lived in Virginia, Georgia, North Carolina. Did a 6-week stint in England, but that was just for a college internship. And I've lived in California for the past almost 4 years. So no, I'm in LA now, where A and B are. So we don't live far apart from each other. We actually met each other at church, and then I was like, wow, there are people in the world who love wrestling as much as I do and love Jesus too. And that's how we became friends. So pretty cool stuff. And ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Marked by Wrestling is in the chat. Say hi to Allison if you see her. When you say bald guy, are you talking about Ciampa? Oh, I guess, yeah, because both Street Profits have hair. Looks like he has a black bar across his booty. Well, I'll have to wait to get a shot of Tommaso Ciampa's butt. The things you say in a wrestling chat. It's 3 hours. You got to fill that time, A and B combos. There you are. No, I wasn't looking for you, but there you are. You're there. All right. Good to see you. Three Kings. We're talking about wrestling breaks. I took a break from 2014 to 2020. Had to go back and catch up and everything. Took months. Three Kings. Yeah. I mean, you probably missed some peak NXT time during there too. So if you haven't seen it, those are definitely some things worth going back and revisiting during that time. Like Nakamura. Funny, all these guys who don't seem to really get their shine on the main roster were treated like kings in NXT. Nakamura, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens has done fine for himself, but Sami Zayn, all those guys. Yeah, it's been pretty. Those are some pretty exciting times. Let's see.
What's it like? Got the speed and power of cricket 5G. It's like me, the Scottish warrior.
Sophie Dovey said this 3 hours flew by fast. I'm going to take that as a compliment because these 3 hours are not easy weekly to stay up for all this time. Because again, as we've discussed, SmackDown is still trying to figure out their pacing a little bit, but they've had some really good stuff though tonight. So some things have been great. That Gunther match was fantastic. Be thinking already about what your show ratings are because you have 3 hours to think back on instead of 2. Three Diglett said, I only watched highlights when Cena was the top guy. The Fiend brought me back. I always if I have a chance to bring this up when someone mentions the Fiend, since we're in the middle of a DIY match. If you can probably find on YouTube, WWE was trying to throw a lot of spaghetti at the wall during this time when the Fiend came back and trying all these different things. And they used to have these watch parties where talent who wasn't wrestling would just sit backstage and do a watch along for the show then. And that SummerSlam, when the Fiend debuted, now most of the room was like, I'm making up names. I don't actually remember who I was back there, but it was like the Iconics and maybe like Dana Brooke and some other people and stuff. They were all just yeah talking and stuff, just catching up with each other, right? But Johnny Gargano, the true wrestling nerd fan, he is one of us, stared at that TV and didn't blink for the entire entrance. And when I saw that, I was like, one of us. He was totally in there for that. And I will always remember that. I'm like, yes, that is the same exact reaction I had. I was like, what are we seeing? I miss Bray so much. And it's not just because of the spookiness either, right? It's because he was always like 5 years ahead of everybody else. So every time I saw him do something, I'm like, Rose ahead of his time. It makes me think of that line in Back to the Future. After Marty plays Johnny Be Good, and he just leans in the mic after everybody's staring at him all gawk-faced and stuff, and he's like, I guess you guys weren't ready for that yet. That's how I always feel about Bray Wyatt. I guess you guys weren't ready for that yet. Amen, Bray. We were not. Man. Cutest girl in the chat says, I took a break from like 96 to 07 when I started watching it again so I could flirt with my guy. She did, and she was successful. She was highly successful. Even if we did butt heads over John Cena and CM Punk. She wasn't a CM Punk fan when I was. That was back when he was like on commentary for a little while. But one thing I actually love watching wrestling with my wife is not only, we talk about finding joy. Is Minecraft sponsoring this match? Sorry, guys. I just saw that in the background. The sponsoring gets really weird sometimes. Anyway, one thing I absolutely love and adore about watching wrestling with my wife is she's not too cool for it, but she does give her own unique casual observations about how these guys perform that we kind of look past as fans because we're already bought into kayfabe and all that stuff. So sometimes she's like, wow, that girl is not wearing enough clothes, or like she's like, oh, you know what? This guy kind of looks like somebody's dad, or, whatever, and it's kind of things that's like, I've watched wrestling for like 30 to 40 years and I don't think about this stuff anymore. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. So clear. I mean, she's always right, anyways. But like, just even in those moments, I'm just kind of like, I love the additional perspective. It's an added seasoning. It's a little tahine on what we're watching. You know, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Yes, Gargano was the man for that. Let's see. What do we got here from Three Kings? Caught some stuff like Keith Lee versus Dijak. Great stuff. And some Ricochet stuff. Ricochet was special in NXT. And although he did accumulate some gold on the main roster, he probably had a little bit more left in the tank that he could have gotten. First match I seen with Nakamura was him versus AJ. Mine was blown. I found out AJ was in WWE. Fiend got me back into WWE. Man, great memories, Kings. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I love to hear where everybody's come from, you know. Thoughts on Goldberg killing both The Fiend and Kevin Owens? Hated it. Men on film, right? Immediately. 2 snaps, a twist. You can't touch this. Man, was that a shatter machine? Shout out to the Revival FTR. All right. Crowd's still awake, which is great. I mean, and by awake, I don't mean like they were asleep. I just mean like their energy hasn't wavered tonight, which is great. Like you said, she was a genius. I'm assuming you're talking about my wife because I'm just catching up with the chats right now. I'm not sure who else you might have been referring to. Let's see. Minecraft the movie. Say is defending NXT. Let's see. Broken in 3 places, but not in half. She has a family. Sorry, that wasn't as JR as I wanted it to be. But, you know, we're almost 3 hours into the stream. Maybe earlier in the stream I could have made that happen. Boom. And then, oh, wow. What a reversal. That slingshot spear caught by Dawkins right into a neck breaker. And to be fair, the crowd didn't give that the love it deserved. Are we getting a doomsday block, Russ? Oh, no. Oh, super kick. Johnny's in a human tree of woe. Here comes Ford. Dive over the top, taking out Ciampa. And now Tez back. Oh, we're going for the Doomsday Blockbuster again. Dawkins held Gargano that whole time. Could it be it? Could we have it? 2. Ciampa with the save. Yeah, I mean, I liked the return of 2-minute match Goldberg, but I didn't want him near any titles. I think Kevin Owens and Jericho could have had the Universal title match at Mania that year. Okay, Dawkins about to come off the top. The Fiend one didn't offend me as much as we're tagging back into Ciampa, just because I was happy to see Fiend be champion, but also his aura and mystique. Boom. Okay, double team, possible finish here. Where's Tez? Can he break it up? 1, 2. Oh, Dawkins kicks out. The Prophets are still alive. Yeah, you know, I was more okay with the Fiend losing. Not the Fiend losing, but him just not having the belt weighing him down. Because when you have a character like the Fiend being champion, eventually, like, they have to lose. And I don't know. I kind of liked him as oh no, miscommunication. Gargano super kicks Ciampa. Boom. Spine buster by Dawkins. Tags in Tez. Are we getting that frog splash? Could this be it, y'all? Frog splash nails him. Could we have new champs? 2 new champs. Let's go. The smoke is here. They wanted the smoke. They got it. And now they got gold. New tag team champions. A and B, I'm so sorry that y'all couldn't stream tonight. So y'all need to do a reaction and just Just Men in Black, mind wipe yourself. Oh, man. Can't believe it. Well, I mean, I can believe it. Y'all, don't look now. SmackDown's tag division is here, y'all. There's great teams everywhere. And it's a great, great show. Next week, they're coming from Italy, too. So now Italy's crowd is going to have to compete with Barcelona. All right, guys, drop those ratings in the chat. Out of 10, what would you rate tonight's show? Hot finish. Definitely a real roller coaster of energy. Great, great stuff. Catching back up here, just making sure I didn't miss anything I want to highlight tonight. Let's see. And then George Lewis gives SmackDown a solid 9.5. Sophie Dophie gives us a 10 out of 10 show. J.R. Dugan gives an 8 out of 10. We've got new tag team champions, y'all. And then Monday, now don't forget, Monday, Raw is going to bring, hold on, Three Kings. Our brother here says hot finish brings it to an 8 for me. Three Diglets, I'm happy for the Profits, but Steven, does it really matter who holds the tag titles? Doesn't feel special to me, even though the design is fire. I agree with you on the tag title design. It is fire. You know what? The WWE, the SmackDown tag titles to me remind me, we're going to have one more WCW story time real quick, of the Cruiserweight title in the height of the Nitro era. There was so much talent in the division. You're right. It doesn't necessarily matter who's holding the title, but the titles are a compass, a North Star that gives direction for all the competitors in the division to be aiming towards. I will agree there's not as much prestige on being the tag team champions on SmackDown as there is being, Cody or Gunther. I'm trying to think maybe other, or I mean, even Chelsea. Chelsea's putting prestige on the women's U.S. title right now with what she's doing. But the division is good enough that if the titles are just what everybody wants, it is very much a microcosm of like old WCW or even current AEW. Like, you know what? The point, honestly, is that you're going to get a killer match no matter what teams are involved. And I know some of y'all don't like all these teams, but I like them all. So I'm going to run through them. Street Profits, Motor City Machine Guns, DIY, Pretty Deadly, Garza's, Phantasma, all those guys. And then, was that a promo for Rey Fenix earlier? Could Penta come over? Could we have the Lucha Brothers in with those guys? I don't know. I thought American Made was brought over to SmackDown, but I guess they're a Raw team now because they were just wrestling the War Raiders recently. But they've got a good, solid division. And we still might even have Carmelo Hayes and Miz together, which, I mean, I wouldn't say that they're, but I still think they could be an addition to that division. So that being said, I think it doesn't matter to me as much that the belts are not yet in the position of prestige that they should be in. So that's my take on that. It's a bit of a optimistic take on the division. Sophie Dophie, so kind for the stream, 100 out of 100. Thank you so much, Sophie Dophie. And yes, Raw will be on in the afternoon on Monday. So 12 Pacific time, 3 Eastern time, and wherever you fall in the middle, that's when it comes on. However, it is on Netflix, so you can always catch a replay. I have not been in contact with A&B. I'm sure they will have a means of a show on Monday. I mean, I'm confident of that unless they announce otherwise. So be on the lookout for A&B to see what they'll be doing about their show there. And yes, thank you, Mr. Diglets of the 3 variety. Hit an elbow drop on that like button. Come off the top rope here. You're gonna go angler here, like right there, like that. So hold on. Let's rewind that for a second. He said, hit an elbow drop on that like button. Yeah, you come off the top, you got pukesters to your left and pukesters to your right, but you got the like button right in the middle of the ring, and I am the master and lord of the ring. Check my phone number. It's on the back of my license plate. My name, it's on my boots. First name Macho, last name Man. Yeah, hit that like button, would you please? It's really hard to do after 3 hours. My throat's already kind of raw, so maybe that actually helps with it. I don't know. Nevertheless, hit that like button, guys. Share with your friends and family, and we'll get these views up. And before you know it, we will have a Super Chat Championship to go through. We are going to head out and head towards the road to WrestleMania with our goal to be Super Chatting by Mania for our next show, whether that's Stand and Deliver right before Mania, which NXT is, whatever it ends up being. But that is our goal line that we want to cross by that time. Which is short. It's going to be intense, but I believe, and because I'm a mark, and being a mark is believing, and believing makes wrestling better. Awesome. So, fantastic. Don't scroll up or down, A and B. Just want to let everybody to know that A and B did not watch the tag match because they're going to do a reaction to it. So, and 100 of 100 for thank you guys so much. Very generous, very charitable. I appreciate that so much. So be awesome. All right. The title will be ready by Mania, the Super Chat title. So your host has some accountability. We're going to work super hard to try to get those numbers up, get them rookie numbers up, and get us super chatting by the pageantry, by the extravaganza, by the grandest stage of them all, the granddaddy of them all, WrestleMania. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining with me tonight. I hope you had a good time. And I just want you to know it means so much to me to spend this time together talking. And you're going to hear me harp this stuff down into the ground like a backstage promo. And imagine I'm walking towards the camera right now, like every other competitor on SmackDown, is that we want to spend time reveling and cherishing the things we love about wrestling, because that's why I made this channel. You can go anywhere on the internet to complain about what you don't like about wrestling, but I want this to be a space where we can love the things we do love about wrestling, find the things that are special, share our memories with each other, listen to one another's stories, grow closer together as a community, and support each other as a good fan base can together. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Keep A and B in your prayers. We love you, A and B. And I will catch you guys on Tuesday for NXT, and hope to catch you in the chat during Raw. And absolutely, I'll say it again, for the people in the cheap seats, being a mark just means you believe. There ain't nothing wrong with believing, guys. All right. Love you guys. I'm checking out. Going to have some time with the family. And believing makes wrestling better. And we want wrestling to be better. Good night, guys. Take care. I'm out. And I'll see you guys on Tuesday.